Like, nasty.
Speaking of nasty. All right, I think we're recording. Put on your headphones. There you go.
Do I go like one ear, like a cool DJ?
All right. Come on, man. Already people know that you're white. You don't have to turn up the whiteness as soon as you get in. Ladies and gentlemen.
Should I leave my white privilege card outside?
Yeah, exactly. You're wearing a golf shirt. How? That is probably the most white privilege get up, quote unquote. All right.
I can't get away from my whiteness, bro.
Try your mic. How do you feel? Say something.
Anxious.
Terrified. Nervous. All right. I can hear you okay. Fuck. Let's turn you up a teensy bit.
Yeah, the volume has been one of those things. Some are good, some are bad.
I feel myself pretty well. How do you feel?
Doesn't look like you're feeling yourself.
I can take it out right now. Don't be afraid. So sit how you normally would sit, though.
Yeah, well, it's kind of weird with this knee, so...
Right.
That's going to be...
Yeah. Let me know. I'll be careful.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay.
I might just have to stand or reposition every once in a while.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 20 of Conservative.
The big 2-0.
I'm so sorry that I left you guys only with one episode last week, but...
You bastard.
What am I going to do? I have to, I'm a busy boy. If this was fully self-supporting, then I could completely devote my life to it, which is what I want to do eventually. But until that point, patreon.com/conservative, and you can donate and contribute and get, gifts and shit. But other than that, Daddy gotta work, so fuck out.
He still fucks on the first date. Says it on his shirt.
That's correct. I wrote it in with marker. Our guest today is...
Michael.
All right. Welcome, sir.
We'll stay a little bit anonymous.
Oh, yeah, a little bit. Now, let's talk about that. So you're afraid... We were talking about not just the fear, because part of it is, I'm sure... Like other guests have talked about, is the fear of just coming on a podcast and like, what the fuck am I going to talk about? It's, there's this bald guy in front of me for 2 hours. There's all kinds of, what am I going to do? Blah, blah, blah.
Totally. What road are we going to go down?
Right.
I'd say that the biggest fear is you can't be honest today. If your views are different than someone else's, then you're a fucking monster.
Right. If you're not in our camp, then you're a bad person.
Someone was describing it as, the mother bear's there and the cub's lurking around, and it's perfectly fine if you're around. But if you get in between the cub and the mama bear is going to fucking destroy you.
Right.
And that's how it is. If you agree with my politics, no problem.
Right.
But if you disagree just a tad, I'm going to devour you.
Right.
And it's horrible.
And then not just that, it also comes to a point of not just... So the disagreement is one thing, but when the people on the left especially call it like... It's like violence to disagree. It's they call it violence. They literally call it like the words are violent and things.
You're a shitty human being down to your soul.
Right. Which is very
but
true.
But it's not just the liberals. I have a lot of very, very, very conservative friends that have... no such thing as an open mind and no tolerance at all. And they do the exact same thing in that camp of they're always right, they're never wrong. And I call those people out, and it's just like, listen, dude, I'm definitely more in your views.
Right. What's an example? Because, like, being a part of the Bay Area, being a part of the hip-hop scene, being a part of the music scene, I really only see, as far as social media, as far as walking around, I don't see the weirdness of the right. I know it exists. Of course it does. There's insane people on the right all the time. We just saw one guy apparently sending fake bombs.
That fucking wackadoo.
Yeah, that fucking idiot. But anyway, so of course there's insanity on both sides and extremism on both sides, but I don't come across it. I just don't, because I'm sheltered in my little Bay Area bubble. Do you see people on the right on Facebook get a little crazy?
Social media, family. I'm born and raised down in the South.
Okay.
Lived down there pretty much until Hurricane Katrina. And there's a very strong camp on the right side, which I agree with some things I don't. It's just the extremity of it. Right. It's the...
You agree with some things like you hate all blacks and gays are going to hell. Yeah, okay, we get that, right?
I am for guns. And I am for gays.
Yeah, see, that seems to be resonating with some people.
My my rough edges have been smooth since being out here, and it's been a wonderful experience. But when I first came out here,
does that mean like a finger in the butt? What does that mean? Like you?
Yeah. My view on everybody, you know, when I moved out here, I was gay, you know,
right?
Not literally,
right?
But that's the whole family thing, you know. You're moving to San Francisco from the South, you must be gay. You know?
I see.
Like, I have a cousin that I found out is her husband, great guy, but he thought since I moved out here, I was gay, and never really said anything to me. And we see each other, and we play golf together, and this, that, and the other. He knows I'm married. He knows I'm married. He's met my wife many times, and he's like, he's in the closet. He's just, you know, he's putting on a front. And then the turning point. This is hilarious. This is how I found out about everything. So my wife and so I'm sober, and I kind of judge everything on time by that. So I was sober when this happened.
Right.
So we were married, you know, 4 or 5 years, and been together at that time probably 7, 8 years. So everyone's met her. We go back home all the time. And I posted a picture of a rental truck that I was using, which was like a big diesel truck.
Right.
And the new bow I got, you know.
Okay.
And I had just went to the range and shot. And he tells his wife, who then tells the rest of the cousins, he's like, holy shit, I thought was a faggot. Oh.
You can say faggot. This is the FCC is not going to touch this.
And
faggot.
Right?
See?
And
right.
And he tells her, and he's like, but he just posted a picture about, you know, hunting. Like, there's no way he can be gay if he hunts.
See, all right, now this I want to pick apart a little bit.
Holy shit!
I want to pick this apart a little bit.
Hold on. Let me finish the story.
Go ahead.
So he says that, I find out about it. Right? So
right.
I'm like, this is going to be monumental, because he's still got that doubt, you know?
Right.
So now every time I'm around him, I'm going to act like I'm a fag.
Right.
You know? Maybe touch him a little bit, make him uncomfortable.
You seem to do that. You seem to do that very well.
It's just like, come on, man.
I want to point that out to my Bay Area liberal friends. Sometimes there's this idea that, I mean, this guy from your family, and maybe part of it is the family thing, but he thought you were gay to the point of calling you a faggot to someone who he's comfortable with, and yet still went and played golf with you and hung out with you. He didn't want to share, you know, a water fountain with you or anything like insane like that.
He's a fantastic guy. We get along
right.
great.
So
we joke around. We go out.
But that's that's what happens in the South, and yeah, people are more apt to say nigger or faggot, but they're not like, they may vote against, you know, certain things. They may be more right, but a lot of them are just. It's not like they demonize gays. You know what I mean?
I think it's a rhetoric. It's a way we use language because we really don't know how to use language well enough to describe our feelings, and we don't really care to. So we just say certain things.
And a lot of people in the South, you grew up that way.
Exactly.
You grew up with faggot
Language
being
is
a part
different.
of normal, you know,
Totally.
nomenclature.
I mean, the words they would use for black folk are many and abundant. I mean, like when I grew up, like I heard porch monkey, like that was a normal thing.
Right.
You know, you drive through like one of the projects, you know, like
right.
the methamphetamine projects, and like that's what they're referred to. And it's just like you grew up and you're 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. You hear that, even if it's jokingly, it's normal to say. But then you turn around and you're working at the church, because like I grew up in, you know, a big Catholic family. And yet we're helping all these people.
Right.
You know, we're literally doing fundraising. Like during football season, we, you know, use the parking lot at the church very close to the Superdome, and we raise money for the community by letting people park in the church, charging parking, and then we feed the homeless. Like so it's like
specifically
actions
to help out black people or just homeless in general.
Well,
and you know,
if you're looking at demographics in the city of New Orleans,
right,
90% black that are coming to that. Maybe a little less, but majority in the inner city were black.
Right.
And that wasn't a problem.
So even
like,
the
there's
word
black
doesn't
parishioners,
necessarily
there's
right.
gay parishioners, and I mean
Right.
this is a huge church.
You're high-fiving with black Saints fans, you know, you're doing, you know, it's,
we never opposed anyone. Like
right.
that was the funny, like that was the weird thing, especially coming of age and then moving out here, and my language never changed until now.
Right.
Well, not now, but
I'm sure years ago.
Exactly. And when I first moved out here, we'd have conversations, and I haven't come to yet. You know, I'm young. I'm 22, 23 years old. I don't understand things. I never tried to understand things. I just came from the South, came out here. And then we get in debates, and I just remember this one
Oh,
at a buddy's house. We're watching sports, and the issue of race comes up. Well, some people left the house because Michael's mouth was fucking blah, 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 blah. And I get reminded of that.
Oh, but dear. Wait, hang on. You gotta explain a little bit. So what exactly, do you remember
Man.
You don't need to go into the detail, but.
Well, yeah. How do you skate around it? You can't. We were having the conversation. There's a difference between a certain culture in the black community,
right,
than there are of
I see. So it was the Chris Rock joke, was it? There are black people, and then there are niggas.
That's
Is that
exactly what the fucking conversation was. It was, and I look back on it. That's not how you should talk.
No, probably not. Well,
but there's a realness to it.
There is a realness to it.
Like,
but it also depends on the venue and the timing and the, you know what I mean? Like there is a podcast is the right place to pick that apart. And you know what I mean?
And I feel comfortable now talking about it just for the sheer fact, as you know, we go to a certain place and we help out anybody.
Right.
I am more than willing.
Black, white,
it
upside down.
It doesn't fucking matter who you are, where you've been, what you've done. The worse you've done, the more I'm willing to help you, and the more I love you, just for the sheer fact that you've come to grips that you fucked up.
Right.
Let's talk about it. Let's laugh about it.
Right.
Like, I love nothing more than to get serious with somebody and talk about all of our flaws and how we fucked up, and we get to laugh about it, not take ourselves too serious.
Right.
And then we start to make amends.
And
we start to mend ourselves.
I think that's a
and
huge piece of that, because that's a huge piece of the bridging of this gap between the left and the right. A lot of people that I see on the left attribute moral superiority, like the darker the shade of the skin, meaning like, well, like all these people coming up from, this is one thing I've thought about, all these people coming up in this caravan from Honduras or whatever the fuck, right, through Mexico. And all these people on the left, like they're just going crazy about like, oh, you gotta let them in, blah blah blah. And I had this thought, I was like, you think these dyed-in-the-wool Catholics from fucking Honduras, working in the fields, like these dyed-in-the-wool fucking religious machismo fucking Mexicanas and all this shit, you think they're down? You think they're down with trans rights? Nigga, are you out of your fucking mind? They don't give a fuck. They don't like that fucking maricon shit. Stop lying, dude.
Gays aren't allowed. And,
right. Are you out of your fucking... Right.
Like, I mean, you go down... Yeah, no, you go to the religious... and I work with many that are of different culture.
Right.
And they're not like...
No.
Where were we? Oh. So I'm talking with someone from work. And... I'm like, so do you have any gay friends or gay family? And I knew...
Is he a Latin gentleman?
He is. And I knew where this was going. And he's...
Right.
And I like to wear the color pink. I wear short shorts. I pop my collar and my polos.
Something's wrong with you. But yeah,
totally.
Continue.
I am who I am, and I really could give two fucks. But that makes them very uncomfortable. When I have legit shorts, I mean... Shorts aren't supposed to go all the way down to your knees. They're supposed to be shorts, dude. I'm not wearing half pants.
All right,
you know
calm down. Continue.
And,
you're a creepy gentleman.
Or if I wear a pink polo, that's it's a little too feminine.
Right.
And they cackle like a bunch of girls. It makes them really uncomfortable, and I just feed on it, and I think it's the funniest thing in the world.
Right.
And there's a big gap there because it's still not accepted. It's still not a normal thing.
Right.
And I'm happy because it was never a bad thing. Like, my dad was very inclusive about that. I remember there was these two doctors I used to go to church with us, and they were gay. Fantastic guy. And one of them was flaming.
Right.
But I loved him. He was great. Mike Taylor, for years, huge flaming gay guy. Fucking loved this dude. Like, we would recommend everyone to go get tailored suits. He lived in the French Quarter. He lived a couple of blocks away from St. Anne and Bourbon, which is like the gay mecca, like Club Oz right there. And my brother and him, great friends, way older than us. But boy, he loved us because he knew we were straight.
Right.
But boy, we accepted him. You know,
Right.
we'd walk into the tailor, you know, hug him, give him a kiss on the cheek. I mean,
Right.
there was no difference in human beings.
Right.
But there was still that like thing you'd hear in church, you know, and these things. But then like all of a sudden, so and so's kid, you know, is so it was becoming more and more accepted. It was never in my family. It was never shunned or frowned upon or anything. It was
Right.
just
You'd
a
say
little different.
words.
Yeah, and then my dad would be always the one like, you don't say that. Like, you know, so and so is this, and you'd offend them and you'd get them upset. You know.
What about joke wise though? Like, would you if
My dad wouldn't accept that stuff.
okay, but if you what about
Outside
openly
of my
with
dad.
those dudes? Maybe not those dudes specifically because it's a church, but like when you go
With the tailor, I won't say his name. We could be so grotesque and
Right.
so nasty and
Right.
throw any words out because he knew who we were. He
Right.
knew we didn't care.
Right.
But we could fuck around.
Right.
You know.
But going back to that idea of those, I mean, I understand, and that's a whole nother fucking ball of wax
Yeah,
to open up the caravan coming up from Honduras. But these people on the left, like that's such an interesting and it's an important point. It's an important point because they immediately attribute
Well, how about
moral
we ask all
superiority.
4,000 of them if they're for abortion? And when they say no, because they have 7 children that they absolutely adore and love,
Sure.
and large families are the common, and having kids at a young age are common.
And there are many
And then
states-
all of a sudden, you start talking to these fucking liberals, and
Right.
they're like, guess what? They're all for abortion. We can't let them in. I guarantee you they change their tune real fucking quick.
And
really quick.
There are still a lot of places in Mexico where you can't have an abortion.
Exactly. And
But they're
It's-
brown.
It's a human thing.
Like, why would they be brown and human at the same time? Like,
and
this so.
like, I don't want to get
Why
off
would they be
topic.
brown
Wait,
and?
to double back really quick because I had this in my mind about the race thing.
Yeah,
Like how real it is. We were in the
in the South, you mean the Southern?
yeah,
race.
and just the whole thing in general, and like how we know our place. But like I'm in the prison, and had a fantastic experience. And at the end of this thing,
Group thing.
yeah, there's a black gangbanger, a Mexican gangbanger,
Right.
and a white supremacist,
Right.
and then me, which I don't know what you want to classify me as yet. And we embraced.
Right.
And we had this hug, and we all started crying. And me and the black gangbanger, who is in jail for murder,
Right.
that he admits to doing.
Right.
Very failed conception
But
that
he's
people.
brown. But he's brown.
It's so
I
funny.
saw number
everyone in
13
prison's-
on Netflix.
Everyone in prison is not guilty.
Right.
Bullshit! You haven't been in prison and you haven't talked to these motherfuckers. They'll tell you if they're in jail for something.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe not that crime, but motherfucker did something else that he should be in jail for.
Yeah.
But back to the point, we got to embrace each other, and tears started coming out of the eyes, and we both looked at each other, and we were like, we shouldn't be here.
Right.
And we shouldn't be doing this.
Right.
I came from a different world, and you came from a different world. But for some reason, because we're both broken and we've come to a common place to just share ourselves, we get to have this relationship that breaks all barriers. And now I'm more than willing to talk about anything because I know where I'm at and I know
Right.
my actions. And you
Right.
can't do nothing about it.
Right.
So fuck you.
Right. And
You
that's
know?
as far as they can't do nothing about it. That's part of the reason I love this podcast is that like I was. I mean, it's been like a week and a half since I recorded an episode, and I just fucking hate it, man. I hate waiting this long. I hate not getting to sit down and have these conversations. And part of it is like, okay, I can post some things, but like a lot of it is like, okay, even if I post this, even if I word it the perfect way and delete and rewrite it and delete and rewrite it and tweak the words, it's now an encapsulated. This is what I believe about this topic. I feel very strongly, but this is it. This is this paragraph. Or, okay, I'll write a song about it. Now, okay, it's 2 or 3 paragraphs, and they all have to fucking rhyme and shit. It's like, no, I want to be able to sit down and have a conversation.
Exactly. And the whole thing with that is it's limited to how many characters, how many
Right.
words, right? Now, granted, it's not limited if you do it on Facebook or whatever, but it's still limited to the words that you used,
right?
And you can't rebuttal. So when somebody reads a text
right.
or something written,
right.
they can take it wrong. They think you're coming from a different place or blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And now it's like, you look at the response and you're like, where the fuck did this dude think I was coming from? Mm-hmm. Like, that is not what I meant. That's not what I said. You just completely twisted it. Mm-hmm. Now we can have a conversation. Right. Let's talk about this.
Right.
Hey, I'm still flawed. I still have fucked up thoughts.
Right.
Maybe I'm, whatever. But, like, I'm personally working on it. Like, let me see your point of view. But
right.
you need to be willing to be open in your mind, and I need to be willing to be open in my mind to get an impasse. Because, like, I have those family that just completely, on one side or the other, and they're not willing to open their minds. And for them, it's just shelter and cut off everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the worst thing.
Right.
And, like, something comes to mind. I'm trying to speak a little bit in generalities. But anyway, someone on the left is upset with someone on the right.
Right.
And the conversation happened where it was like, I am nothing like them. And I said, the fuck you aren't.
Right.
I said, you're more like them than you can possibly imagine. You grew up in the same town. You're the same color. You're of the same family. You went to the same schools. You were both privileged. Just going down the line. I'm like, you differ in your perception. Mm-hmm. And that's about it.
Right.
Like, I know you for who you really are. And we have very honest conversations. And I know you're prejudiced. But you're not prejudiced against the wrong people. You're prejudiced against the people that it's allowed to be prejudiced against.
Right.
Asians. Who gives a fuck about them?
Wait a second. All right, hang on.
That's the whole thought. Like, it's just like,
I thought you were talking about the person on the left.
I am.
Oh, okay.
So they're prejudiced
against Asians.
And I'm like, you're going against your whole philosophy.
Well, I mean, Asians are less than people. So, I mean,
Jesus Christ. Do you see fucking the NFL fucking putting in sanctions? We need an Asian fucking coach. No. But we do need black coaches. Do we have fucking this uproar of like, we don't have enough Mexicans in basketball? Fuck right. No. Who gives a shit?
Well, here's the thing.
It's like this whole thing of
even Stevens.
Yeah, but it's like only on certain races
and certain genders. We need more. Totally. We need more female. We need more female directors. Which, by the way, remember when Natalie Portman last year when she was doing? We need. This is the all male nominees for director, and everyone's like, ooh, fuck you, Natalie Portman. I went through her IMDb just on purpose because I'm an asshole. Almost all of, like, not almost all. I think it was something like out of 40 movies, like 34 to 35 of them were done by male directors. So fuck you, number one. Number two, if we really do even Stevens, that means even Stevens across the board. And that means we need to start letting females into the NFL. We need to start, let's do it real. Let's have Ronda Rousey fight fucking Damian Lewis. Let's do it. If we want to do it, if you want fucking equality, let's do it, bitch. Don't fucking lie. Don't lie about who your fucking balls. When I go to, I was talking about it a couple weeks ago. When I walked by a flower shop, and it was like literally a flower shop. There's two females working, and I'm like, and I had the thought, like, no dude wants to work there. That's a female mostly business. Listen. I know you, flowers. But I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with flower, but I'm saying interest in being a flower shop girl, like interest. It's mostly. I mean, that's gonna be so. Interest never comes into a mind when you're talking about this even Stevens thing. Right. You know what I mean? Do you know how rare it is for a female to want to get into a ring and beat the fuck out of another female or get beat up?
It's a niche thing.
I desire to get into the ring with another man and beat the fuck out of each other. That is something that is in my bones. It's in nature. It's in my belly, and I'm looking forward to it. Right? I'm not saying all dudes, but I'm saying the majority. Their interest has to come into this even Stevens fucking topic, man. It's bullshit.
I went to a comedy show on Saturday night, and I forget the guy's name. He opened for Nick Swartzen, who was great, by the way. I fucking loved the show. He got onto a topic about the joke about gender bathrooms or whatever, and I have to agree with where his joke was going. It's like, I don't give a fuck if it's a woman's bathroom or a man's bathroom, like, let's just have a bathroom, which I am in total agreement with. I do not think they need to be separated. If you're really worried about somebody fondling your kid, then maybe you have your own issues. Watch your child.
Right.
But he's like, the worst part is, he's like, I'm not worried if a woman walks in, or another man walks in and sees something. He's like, you know what I'm worried about? I'm worried about sitting in the stall and a little fucking 2-year-old comes underneath the fucking stall and pops his head in and, hey, what's up? That's the scariest thing in the fucking world.
Yeah.
I'm naked and there's a 2-year-old boy in the stall with me. When he screams, now I'm a monster.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, totally.
Or there's a, you've heard of Christina Pasinski?
Yes.
Yeah, so she was talking on the Joe Rogan podcast with her husband, damn, what's his name? Tom Segura.
Fat Tom.
Yeah, hashtag Fat Tom. So there's and she was talking about, like, I don't care about, like, bathrooms, but I also, and this goes to the interest topic, she was like, I don't want to be next to a dude while he's taking a massive dude shit. Like, isn't that like I get it. Okay, we'll have mixed bathrooms, but like, girls, do you really want one? Like, I know you're fighting for it because you don't want a trans person to ever feel any bad feelings ever or feel excluded ever. And all right, well, that's a whole nother topic. But even if you do, does that mean you want to sit next to me while I'm taking a raucous fucking shit? Do you really want my hand to reach underneath and go like, hey, can I, I'm out of toilet paper. Can you want a dude hand? Do you really want to be able to not go to I mean, there's a reason why you girls all go to the bathroom.
Shits with the door open at home. Let's have a conversation. Zero worries in the world.
Another thing about interest is the girls, y'all go to the bathroom together. That's your little sanctuary to do your makeup and talk about the boy and what you're going to do. Like, and talk, and how's this date going? But like, that's your little sanctuary. You want me to take a raucous fucking shit while you guys are trying to do your girl shit?
Why not?
Be real. No, I'm saying the girls are not being honest with their belly.
Yeah, I don't know. I like when I flew into was it Switzerland or Sweden? I don't know, one of the two.
Right.
And
it's the same shit. Fucking fight me.
It's really far.
I think I have some.
It's over the pond. It's like
I have some listeners in the
it's
UK,
somewhere up there.
I have some listeners in the UK and Germany, but none in Switzerland or
asshole.
Sweden yet. So fuck off.
But there's no. It's just single stall bathrooms. It's single doors. There's like 12 doors across the airport, and it doesn't matter who you are or what you do. You go in there by yourself. Problem solved. We are literally fighting a problem that equates to 0.5% of the fucking population of the United States. Really? We're going to waste our time on that shit when that's not really the fucking problems we have.
No.
At all. Like, I understand. They're completely people, and we need to take care of them. Like,
sure.
No doubts about it. And they need the same rights that I have.
Absolutely.
But at some point, there needs to be a rule and a structure. It's across the board. You know, like, you can't... When I see a dude that transitioned to a woman, and then he wins the race... Get the
He wins the race against another female, or he beats her. There was that MMA fighter who
and you know what?
Transitioned and then was winning against all of the females.
We don't need a national debate about that small of a niche.
Right.
We really don't.
And I think
that's like so just bullshit. It's baiting people against people.
Right.
It's a way just to create more of a shit storm, and it's like, dude, literally you could probably count how many times that's going to happen.
Right.
Who gives a fuck?
Right.
Like, I'm not a nasty person, and neither are you.
Right.
Our perceptions are just different.
Right.
That's how it is.
And not just that, it's not just used as like but it's also used as trans people are used as pawns in the game of politics too.
Jesus Christ, dude.
And that which goes to the idea of that caravan. Like, you just want to assume that everyone brown is on the left. Everyone who's assume.
I'll assume this: all politicians are crooked, shady, creepy motherfuckers.
Yeah.
They might get in it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And that might last for a very short time until they're in the fucking game and they become fucking monsters. Every single one of them. They don't give a fuck about you. They do not give a fuck about me. They don't care about the fucking minority or the majority.
Right.
They're worried about winning.
Right. Which I can understand. I can understand. I don't want to.
Yes,
obviously,
don't you dare fucking tell me you care about me when Gavin fucking Newsom. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking? That's why look. Trump is Trump. Okay.
Sure.
I love him, but I don't love him for his views.
No.
I love him because he's the fucking wrench in the engine.
Yeah.
He is complete and utter entertainment.
Sure.
And if you take his words seriously, you need to go and do some spiritual practices and get one with yourself because you have something off, okay? Right. If you let him dictate your mood and the way you react, you have your own issues. Right. If you can't stand back and laugh at the fucking just hypocrisy in it all and just the showmanship, you're missing the entertainment.
And not just that, the humanity of what I like about him being a little less polished is that he is kind of one of the first ones that I can remember. Maybe Barney Frank. There are a couple of politicians you can remember who are like real, like they may be corrupt, but at least they're real ass dudes. Where like they just say things. Sometimes they say things that are. That go against what they said two days ago. But so do I, so do you, so does everybody. I have tons of conversations, which is one of those things about having this podcast. You can listen to stories that I have retold many times. You can listen to me say things on this episode that counteract or what's the word? Contradict, what I said 3 episodes ago. Like that's fucking human nature, and to just say, that once you're a politician, you have to be super, super polished. Like we've done polished before, and I don't like polished.
And why do we need to be perfect to be a politician?
Right.
Like I got into that conversation with my father-in-law, and it didn't go really too far. He's a great man, and when conversations differ, there's no reason to have the conversation anymore.
Right.
But he talks about, or I was talking about, like we're so worried about somebody being so perfect. Talking about Kavanaugh.
Right.
I'm like, no one's perfect.
Yeah.
And like we're shooting for this thing, and then it gets in this, catch-22 of trying to hide everything,
Right.
And that's you did something at this point in your life. Yeah, I did a lot of fucked up things throughout my life. Like goofy shit, not so bad shit, but I was a mean kid.
Right.
I was definitely not, I got picked on probably a little bit, but I did a lot of picking on, Right. I had to go to people and tell them, hey, look, I was a shitty kid.
Right.
I did some nasty things to you. I said some nasty things.
Right.
I'm not like that anymore. And like anything I can do to, to help you or to rectify this, let me know. But like we're in this world of like, these public figureheads and everything need to be perfect. It's like, fuck that, man. Like, give me the guy that's been through shit. That has learned, that has seen many different things.
But even if they haven't learned, let's really look at some of the best people in the world who have done amazing things have also done horrible things. One of those is Martin Luther King. Fucking loved white women, dude. Fucking married,
love Martin Luther King.
married, and got some puss on the side. You know what I mean?
But no one wants to talk about that,
right? And that doesn't negate the wonderful things he did, but it is a part of the conversation. Dude. Not just that. What's the Winston Churchill drank like a fucking fish? Just like
two massive spiritual leaders right there.
There you go. So like some of our best advocates
were
to
they
some
spiritual
things.
Leaders? Were they looked at as positive spiritual leaders at that moment in time by everyone? No.
Not while they were in bed with someone else, right?
No.
Not while they were hurting their friends. Okay. Not while, who was it Gandhi who didn't like blacks? I think it was Gandhi who didn't like blacks. So, like, okay, like, maybe we don't put him in charge of, like, as the figurehead of, like, black people. But I'm just saying, like, you take what you can. Yeah. Because even if they're not, I don't think, you said, like, obviously my preferred would be someone who's been through shit and gotten out to the other side and learned and is trying to change their behavior. But even if you haven't, if you've already passed away or you've already say you did a great thing in the law or did a great thing in politics and then, like, also did awful things. Like, okay, it's already your legacy, if you will, is already cemented.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need to go back and just put a big, what's that big Camille Paglia? You like Camille Paglia, the feminist? She's a real feminist. She's not this fucking second, third wave.
I like real ones. I would consider my wife a real feminist.
Exactly.
But she's not going to pussy hat marches.
Right. So Camille Paglia and Jordan Peterson had this. They're both amazing thinkers,
Love Jordan.
and they had this amazing conversation. You need to look it up, please. Jordan Peterson, Camille Paglia, and Paglia is Paglia, or I think, yeah, and it's 2 L's for some fucking reason. It was awful. Camille with 2 L's. And they had this conversation, and she was talking about how in art classes in art college now, all we do is in the art conversation is go back through and with a red pen and say and just there's sexism here, okay, Italy 1300s, there's racism here, and then just like all you're doing is just judging and taking it. Well, you can't appreciate this art because they were also slave owners, or you can't appreciate this because they were also putting down or you can't let's stop that shit. Like, I know some amazing people who have done some fucking awful things, and not just we've talked about it, and I saw the guy the other day, like, not just like, I shot somebody in a drug deal, or I shot somebody in a gang fight because I was trying to look cool to the gang, or I killed somebody in a drug or drunk driving. Like, I know a motherfucker who's slit multiple throats. Like, that's an intentional
Very intentional.
Yeah.
So I was listening to got a shout out to this podcast, Ear Hustle, one of my favorite podcasts ever. It's recorded in San Quentin
nice
correctional facility. They don't get to do too many episodes because it's done in the prison, and
right.
You can only go in so much and everything. And it's usually interviewing prisoners about real shit.
Right.
And I like it because I go into prison a lot, and it's real. They're talking about the real things, and they're
right.
trying to let people on the outside know what's up. And a guy was telling a story about someone inside, white guy with a black guy, white supremacist, black gangbanger, but they were friends, and they went to chow together all the time, and they worked maintenance together. And he's like, this guy was a good guy to me, and he's like, his name was Shreds. He never thought anything about the name Shreds,
Shit.
He just thought it was a cool name, right? And one day they're going somewhere, and you know how it is, same thing as in Soul Dead.
Right.
And he had a box cutter on him, and he saw this guy, and he yelled out, and he ran across to him, and just started shredding his face with razor blades, and cut him all up.
Who cut who?
Shreds. Cut another
Shreds
inmate.
The black guy?
No, Shreds the white guy.
Okay, he started cutting another inmate.
Yeah. Because it was, he hadn't seen him. They finally crossed paths. One of those, gang things, he got his orders and he did them. And the guy talking about it, like, the guy died. And the black guy's like, he's laying there with his eyes open. And I'm like, I didn't even have time to stop it. I'm with this guy on a daily basis. And I did not think he was capable of this anymore. And then he does this. And then he goes back to, hey, he's my friend again.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, those are the type of people that are in there, And I forget that when I'm in there because I think everyone's like, oh, they're happy we're in here.
Walk, blah, blah, blah. Right,
it's
right,
like,
right.
No, there's some really bad guys that can act really good when they're not in their, they call it politics.
Right.
Another reason I hate politics.
Right.
But
yeah, there was just even last week there was
those guys are
some
real.
guy knifed to death at
Salinas Valley,
in
Estelle, which that's the next place I want to go to, but I'm kind of worried about that place.
Right.
Well, level 4, but
well, you're not Mexican, so you should be okay.
It's funny when
Apparently,
I go in, they all for the longest time thought I was the DA because I came in dressed like my dress.
Yeah, you do look a little.
And then you get real with them, and then they find out who you really are,
right.
And I could be in there with them,
Right.
Which I don't. Not everyone needs to know that, but it's who I am. It's what happened.
Right.
And it's crazy in there. It's definitely crazy.
And not just that, but I also know some guys who, were here from Mexico who did dirt, here. And then when they, one guy in particular, he got out and was sent, back to Mexico. He was deported. And it's like, I want freedom for that guy, and I want love for that guy, because he had done better and had cleaned up his act, obviously, and, had done what he needed to do for almost, upwards of 20 years, and, like, was trying to take care of his life and do good by the victim's family and blah, blah, blah. But I also don't think illegal immigration is all that great. You know what I mean? Like, it's such a strange thing, because I would, in my rudimentary, maybe my younger years, or maybe, from like, I would figure, well, if I know illegal immigrants, like, all of them, they're all taking the jobs that we don't want to do, man. It's just lazy whites that don't want to work. You know what I mean? Which is just, it's not a true thing. Like, it's.
You know what I love? I love that I work with.
Do you need ibuprofen or something?
No. Because it's starting to bother me, but it's cool.
Okay. Do you want a chair to put it up on?
No, I'm good. I'm just saying for a second.
Okay.
What I love is that I work with guys that have worked in the fields.
Okay.
So, like, you hear all this talk and you see all these numbers,
right,
from people that have no idea. Actually, on your podcast, I think I texted you about it. Some things were misrepresented on the pay of the field workers.
Hang on, put the a little. You can twist it up.
Oh, like cool. Is that better?
It might fall because I broke it a long time
I'll hold
ago.
it for a second. I'm not going to stand up for long.
So some things were misrepresented on the pay. Do you remember who it was? Because we can get the both of you on and fight.
Totally. Anyway, it was around. It was a ballpark figure of $3 an hour in the fields. That's not correct.
Interesting.
At all.
Now, obviously, this is California, right? Where there's more laws around it.
Totally, but, I mean, they circumvented laws. I mean, you know what I love? I love, everyone loves their wine, right? Who do you think picks those grapes?
Touché. Right.
But they get paid a lot better than you think.
Okay. From your experience.
From my experience. From firsthand acknowledgement. One of my good friends at work, his wife still does it. Makes a great living. They own a $500,000 home in Castroville, providing for their two sons who are phenomenal kids and going to school and everything. But, he went through the correct process and became a citizen. And it was funny because the first time we're doing this event together and there was an American flag and he goes, Mike, you know how much I love that flag? And I'm like, yeah, how much? And he starts telling me. And he tells me how the opportunity that he has in this country. And how he started. He started in the fields, where his wife still is, and then he moved from the fields, and he's working with me now, or I'm working with him. I'm not. We're two in the same, and he was able to buy a home, and then he sold that home, and now he's able to own his quote dream home, and he's providing for his sons, and his sons get to go to the schools that he wants them to go to, and then we start talking politics, and like you have this thing on the media that everyone's against Trump and everyone's against the Republicans. And he's like, I like him. I voted for him. He's like, I don't want my money taken away. I work really hard for my money, and I'm tired of paying these crazy fucking taxes. And I'm like, exactly.
So a Mexican-born worker who came here
working in the fields,
and he's officially a citizen now. Voted for Trump,
and he's assimilated, and he speaks fluent English.
Right.
His kids both speak Spanish and English.
Right.
You would not know that it's their second language.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, that I love seeing that. Is there anything better than that in the world?
Right.
You want to come here, assimilate with us.
Right.
Yeah, but I have a problem with the guys that came here and they're here for 30 years and they still can't speak English to me.
Right.
That's arrogant.
It's willful.
It's
willful
absolute
arrogance.
And it's like, look, man, you know how arrogant I would be if I moved to France and I lived there for 30 years and I decided I'm not going to speak your language. You need to bow down to me and speak the way I speak.
And pay for my shit.
Fuck you.
And all your taxes go towards my life.
You're a smart individual.
Right.
You came somewhere for an opportunity and you have to make some sacrifices. That's a small sacrifice. Learning the language, assimilating.
It's not that difficult.
I expect that to happen.
If you can sacrifice, it is. I'm sure it is incredibly difficult. Let me rephrase that. It's incredibly difficult, but it's worth the sacrifice to spend time doing what you need to do to learn the language, or doing what you need to do at least to learn the customs, or to like.
If you can be the wonderful human being that you are, that I know, and after 30 years you couldn't learn English,
right? That's
not because you're dumb or special needs. It's surely the fact that you didn't do it. You know. And that can be such a polarizing thing.
Right.
You know, I see these things. I saw a article about this woman in Texas. She was mean to a guy. But when I read it, I was like, I kind of agree with her.
Now,
like,
extrapolate.
Guy was checking out in line, and he didn't speak English, and something went wrong, and she was trying to help him. And anyway, he asked if there's somebody that can speak Spanish. And she tells him pretty much, we speak English here in Texas.
Right.
That's wrong. That's being mean. There's not accepting of that.
Sure.
But when we start talking about the philosophy of it, and this guy's been in the States for 12 years, you have to assimilate. Like, when people came in through Ellis Island, they had to go on a journey of becoming citizens. They had to, be in a situation where they could provide for themselves, and they had to assimilate to be part of our society.
They still though in New York. I mean, they still hung out in. There's a Jewish community and an Irish community and a Puerto Rican community, an
Italian community,
and you hang
Russian
out.
Community.
Just like if I immigrated to Germany, if I immigrated to Germany, I would try to learn German, at least a rudimentary, know how to buy a stick of gum, know how to get on the bus, know how to do this, know how to do that. And then I would try to find where in the fuck are the Americans and the English people and the Australians so I can speak the same language,
how it works.
Hang out, have the same culture, have the same music, blah, blah, blah. But I would also try to figure out, okay, how does my life look over here? How do I, like even... I had a friend, an ex, who lived in China for about 6 months, and I went out there, and China's a fucking trip. And the thing is that she, I'm only hanging out with her for a week, and she had already been living there, I think, like 4 months at the time, and she, was able to pull up, know exactly how to talk to the cab driver. Here's the address for the, here's the, R&B's for the money. Here's this and that. She knows exactly how to, she's navigating this Chinese world, not speaking very much, but speaking enough to, or at least using Google Translate. Exactly. Everybody has a fucking smartphone. All Mexicans, German, everybody has a fucking smartphone. Even the Chinese, even though the government in China is like watching all your shit. Everybody has a fucking smartphone.
Because we're not watching all of our shit.
Well, let's be real. They don't have access to fucking YouTube. There's a goddamn difference.
Yeah, totally. But don't think we're not listening.
No, USA can listen to my stupid fucking all that shit. But at least they let me go on the goddamn internet. Okay? At least they let me talk to other people who aren't Chinese. There's a gal in China when we were over there who could not. The government didn't want her to come to America because she was going to college. Yeah, it was like, no, you know what? No tourism for you because we're afraid pretty much that you're going to go over there and just fucking stay over there. So we want to keep you here. There's a goddamn difference between Chinese government and USA.
We're big bad America.
I know, exactly.
Right? People have no perspective what the fuck soever.
It's the evil white man.
I loved it when the conversation came up about bathrooms and transgender and everything and that Target thing. And some teachers tried to indoctrinate some of my young nieces. And I remember the conversation. My brother-in-law heard it. And he's like, whoa. Let's stop. And he goes to India. And there's no bathrooms in some of those villages. And he's like, before we're worried about who can use a bathroom, and he didn't take a side. I loved it because I was just sitting back watching. He's teaching his girls. And he's like, there's a lot more people out there that are a lot less privileged than us. When we can fix their problems, then we can worry about being entitled and deal with these issues. Now, granted, that's a generalization and not the exact words that he used. But it's like, yeah, there's a lot of problems outside of the United States, and we're so entitled and so arrogant that our problems are so big.
Right. I mean, it's
like, no.
I literally was on my way here, and I think I paid $10 a month for YouTube, $10 a month for SoundCloud. Or no, 16 because I need to have it for the posting or whatever. But anyway, so I pay, around $30-$40. But I can literally go on, I want to listen to this. And I just literally, I don't even have to type it in while I'm driving. I press a little button and then say it into the phone. It pulls up whatever the fuck I want. Even though it's technically the copyright of other people, you know what I mean? Like of people that wrote that song, and I can listen to whatever the fuck I want. And then not only that, here's how good it is in America. I copy that that link, and then I can go to a website and I can put the link in, press I want it to be converted to an MP4, and now the video is mine. And then I can post that video. That's how good it is here. And there are people who can't even shit in other countries. Not just that. Why aren't we talking? Why isn't it even a part of the conversation with the left that something is wrong with Honduras? Something is wrong with Venezuela. Something is wrong with Mexico.
Did, apparently to them, we're the ones that we did it.
How?
You know,
what do they say?
Whatever military shit that we did, you know, when Reagan was in office or whatever.
Really? Is that what they're trying to say?
Which is funny because
no one takes accountability for your own fucking country now.
No one takes accountability for fucking anything.
Well, you can't
now.
If they're brown.
Oh,
Michael, you can't. If you're brown, you're not responsible for your behavior.
I don't call him a fuck, dude. This is where it's gonna go, dude.
We are pissing some people off with this one. You keep hitting the table, motherfucker.
Sorry.
Yeah, fuck with the thing. All right, go ahead.
So there's a guy that I used to drink with who we never got along with. I mean, we were casual and we were friends and everything, but we did not see eye to eye.
Right.
He's definitely on the other side of the scope. And he had posted something. Oh, I remember what it is.
Right.
Voter suppression.
Oh, right.
Say, having an ID, you're voter suppressing these guys, and blah blah blah. And my stance was, I didn't say my political stance. I said, where does accountability come in? Because you want these people to vote your way 2 weeks before the election. You give a fuck about them right now. You didn't give a fuck about them last year when you knew the election was still going to be November 6th. You did not give a fuck. You didn't give a fuck the year before that. You didn't give a fuck when they graduated high school. You didn't give a fuck for a long time. But now that these people are advantageous to your political belief,
right.
Now let's bitch and moan and complain that they're being suppressed
right.
because their name does not match the name on their Social Security. And I'm like, listen, we need accountability.
Right.
I just went on a flight to Oklahoma. I was with the girl in line, and guess what? Her name didn't match her ticket because she put her nickname on the ticket and her license has a different name. Guess what? She's white.
Right.
I would say she's got that white privilege card. And you know what they told her? You can't pass through security. You need to change the name on the ticket. So guess what?
Right.
She almost missed her flight. She went and changed it. It has nothing to do whether they're black or white or brown or anything like that. In some cases, maybe so. But overall, if you actually are accountable and you do everything that the rules state, then you can't. Then the man doesn't win. So if you're crying foul because there's a rule that says you can't do this because of this, and you don't fix that before trying to go do it, you're just a fucking irresponsible asshole. That's my view on it.
That's like every 4 years.
Let's go work with these people before the election, no matter if they're right or left or center.
Right.
Let's get them registered to vote, and let's help them so that when it comes to it, I'm not using them as a political pawn in my objective.
I get the point you're making. At the same time, I think the bigger issue is that well, two things. So one of them is that what goes to that idea is we only hear about complaining about the Electoral College every 4 years. Right. Like when then it's like, oh,
my guy didn't win. This is wrong.
And then the other thing is, and the bigger thing is that it's really racist for white liberals, especially, to think that voter ID laws affect the black community. Because really what it means is a black guy doesn't know. Have you seen that Ami Horowitz video? That's what I was trying to look. So AMI Horowitz. Amy Horowitz, look it up online. how white liberals actually view black voters.
Oh, dude.
And how
That's
voter ID
pretty
laws.
nasty.
Have you seen that video?
No, but
So these white liberals, they're like, this guy Ami Horowitz goes to this college campus and he's interviewing white liberals and why voter ID laws are racist. Is like, and these guys are like, well, part of it is that they may not know. They may not have access to the internet, and he's talking to these black guys in Harlem, these black women and men, and he's like, "Do you have access to the internet?" And they're like, "What are you, fucking out of your mind? I have a smartphone in my hand right now. What do you mean I don't have access to the internet?" And then one of these other white liberals is saying, "Well, voter ID laws are racist because maybe they might not know, where the DMV is," and like he's asking all these black guys and black women in Harlem, "Do you know where the DMV is?" "Yeah, it's over on fucking 125th Street."
What do you actually think about these people?
Oh, they might not have. These white liberals are saying, "Oh, they might." It also disproportionately affects black voters because because a lot of these people in prison, these felons, are actually they're unfairly arrested because they're black. So it's like, okay, so black people don't have access to the internet. Black people don't know where the DMV is. Black people are all criminals. Like this is what white liberals who are apparently not racist. It's an amazing video. You have to go watch it. AMI Horowitz with voter ID. It's fucking incredible. And all these black women and men are like, what the fuck are they talking about? I can map on my phone right now how to get to the DMV. All I need is my ID. Oh, they don't have access. They don't use their ID because it's like, what do you mean you don't use your ID? Not just that. If you are apparently a shat-upon individual, which I don't agree with, but if you are a shat-upon individual and you are using a government assistance, most likely you have some form of fucking identification that shows, hey, give me my fucking check from the government, right? So you're gonna have motherfucking ID. It's not that big a goddamn deal.
It's not a big deal, and we're losing the fact that it's accountability at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We need fucking people to be accountable. Look, I get pissed off when I do something and it doesn't go my way, and I find out it was because I didn't read the rules correctly.
Right.
I didn't do what was stated.
Right.
I'll pitch a fit.
Right.
Or I have pitched a fit.
Sure.
I might not do it anymore, but I pitch a fit and I blame everyone else.
Right.
And at the end of the day, I can go home and say, oh, "You're a shitty human being because it wasn't their fault.
Right.
It's yours."
Right. I've gotten mad at cops for pulling me over, even though I did the shit. You know what I mean? Like, I cut the corner, and I'm like, damn it.
Police. It's like, I am very 100% supportive of police.
Yeah.
Family members all involved in it.
Right.
I love them. They're great guys.
Most of them.
But,
Most of them.
yeah, just like anything.
Right.
Most white people are great,
Right.
but we definitely have a good, strong percentage that are shitheads. Same thing in any race, any culture,
Right.
any religion, any sect. There's outliers, but when we look at the bell curve, majority is good.
Sure.
And I hear these things, the police brutality bullshit. Just like, and I have, quote, the white privilege card. Do you see my interactions with police officers? Like, I'm very respectful. I'm very polite. I do exactly what they tell me to do. I try and do it before they tell me to do it. You know? Every time I get pulled over, I'm guilty.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
I fucking know. On the way out to somewhere, Yosemite or whatever, following another buddy of ours. We're doing 105 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Following each other. And cop is in the other lane.
Oh, God.
We already passed an accident. But we're just flying. And I'm in the car, and I had like 4 people in the car. I'm like, dude, why is he flying? We're going to get there in time, no problem. It's like a 3-hour drive, 4-hour drive. I'm like, oh, well, I'm following him. I'll stay with him. We're literally doing 105 miles an hour.
Right.
And I see the CHP on the other side of the highway coming our way because it's 2 lanes. And I'm like, we're done.
Right.
And I slow down automatically. And he gets on side of me. And he just mouths to me. He's like, pull over. I'm pulling him over. No problem. No problem in the world. I pulled right over. I'm like, this sucks.
Yep.
This is going to be expensive.
Right.
So, kicker is I have no registration.
Ah.
And my ID is I either didn't. Oh, I did not have my.
What in the
This
fuck
is the
is
worst.
wrong
This
with
is
you?
horrible. So, this
What
I guess
are you
this
black?
I guess this just shouts out to white privilege, right?
Right.
But I'm very, very polite to him.
Sure.
He goes, "Do you know what you were doing?" I said, "Yes, sir." You know, whatever.
Right.
Everyone else is in the car,
Right.
and he's pulling two of us over, and we both listened.
Right.
And he asked us for everything, and I had just lost my ID in Oklahoma, that airport thing I was just talking about, that thing we went to. I went and played golf, rented some golf clubs, had to use my ID, didn't get my ID back, and didn't find out. Well, I found out at the airport, which I got through, but so I didn't have my ID, but I had an expired license on me and no registration, but it's registered.
Right.
I just didn't have it with me. So I give him everything, and he asked us what we're doing. So I was honest with him and told him, we're going to this place for this thing, and this is why we're doing what we're doing. And he took a while with the guy in front of me. And then he left, and I saw him writing some stuff out. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be expensive. I'm like, whatever, though. I did it. Mm-hmm. And he comes back, and so he's writing on his ticket book. And he hands me the ticket, and he goes, you need to sign right here. And it's a fix-it ticket for my registration.
Nice.
And he's like, I appreciate what you're doing. He's like, you know, just get there safe. We just had that accident back there. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, whew. Thank God. It would have been different if I would have kept going. If I wouldn't have slowed down. If I would have been an asshole to him, you know. But got off.
Right. But I mean, there's been times you haven't, right? Meaning there have been...
Well...
There's been times you have gotten a ticket. There's been times you have... I mean, there's been times... Here's the point I'm trying to make with that.
Streak.
Okay.
I'm on a very long lucky streak.
Here's the point I'm trying to make with that.
But yes, I've gotten tickets right when I got sober. I got 3 tickets after getting sober, which I never got a DWI, which just blows my mind. Right. I got 3 tickets within a month and a half, all speeding tickets, high rates of speed. I was very insecure. I was renting new cars every week because I had I had lots of points at Enterprise for my old job, and I was renting these really nice luxury cars, and speeding in them, and I got all 3 of those tickets. Right. But I was very polite to him. I knew I was getting the ticket, and there's no problem.
Right, but it's not the whiteness that got you off. So my thing is like, we've all had times, whether you're black, you're white, you're whatever, where... You know, I've had times, too, where I'm, like, nice to the guy, and he still gives me the ticket. He's not an asshole about it. I mean, but I remember
he didn't come
Oklahoma,
to the door, and I didn't say, you know, I smell that bacon, you fucking pig, you know.
Right. I had a time I was actually driving to Oklahoma for that thing, and I get in, and the guy's like, I was speeding bad. I think it wasn't 135, but it was up there. It was, like, over 100 for
What's the fastest you've ever done in a car?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I haven't tracked it. But anyway, I was doing, I mean, it's literally past midnight. I think I'm about 2 hours away from Oklahoma. I just want to get to the fucking hotel. I'm trying to stay awake any way I can, which includes lots of very illegal things. Not illegal things.
Dude, you're talking about changing a date?
No, not that. But it includes very illegal things like...
Were you strumming your pain with your fingers?
A little bit. I was jerking off while driving. Okay, I was trying to stay awake.
I'm not saying
I'm very
I haven't
tired.
done it.
All right, it's not. It's just as bad as getting roadhead. Frankie, what are you going to lock me up for getting roadhead? Anyway,
in some states.
Yeah, that's true. But anyway, I'm trying to fucking stay awake, and I'm speeding. It's nobody on the fucking road. It's open highway. I'm doing a long distance from San Francisco to fucking Oklahoma. You know, I've been up. I've been fucking awake. Anyway, I had stayed at a hotel somewhere else, but I'm like, I'm trying to get there. So anyway, and this guy pulls me over. And searches the car. I'm like, yeah, I have these other tickets in California. I was real bad fucking 2 years ago, up until last year at some point. But anyway, and I earned that fucking ticket. And even though he's like, he understands where I'm going and blah, 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 obviously had put my pants back on and all this shit, whatever. But like, I was not naked at the time. But This is, but anyway,
Now
he pulls
all
me
I
over.
see is Pete driving through the fucking desert with a dick in his hand and a hand on the steering wheel. Like,
Oh yeah.
oh,
Yeah,
man, this
I'm
is
not putting. At
fantastic.
least I have my hand on the steering wheel. It's like I'm not kneeing it and jerking off. You know, hey. This is your podcast host, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, this is the best. This is the best you're gonna get. But I pulled over, and even though I was honest with him, whatever, it's a small town in Oklahoma. You know what I mean? He still had 2 other cops come, and like,
you
was
are
like,
Puerto Rican.
That's true. But he's like, I'm going to just check your car, blah, blah, blah. Like, they literally checked the car for fucking drugs. Like, just
Why
in
wouldn't
case.
they?
Yeah. That makes a lot
You're
of sense.
coming from California.
Right.
Weed is plentiful.
Right.
Why wouldn't you?
Speeding, it's
Midnight.
It's past midnight.
You're by yourself. You totally fit the narrative of drug mule.
Right.
That sounds nasty, but it's true.
And I didn't mind it. It was a very inconvenient time. I wish he didn't give me that fucking ticket because it was like 100 and fucking, and plus I live out of state,
Only
so
100? That's
I
nice.
can't go over to fucking. I'm not gonna go to Oklahoma, some bunk town. I even tried to take care of it while I was there driving back through, and it was literally like this small shack.
That's the worst.
Where like this is your
You can't
DMV.
mail it in,
like
and you can't do it on the internet.
Right. I'm like,
what ancient
can I
fucking
just
town do you live in?
Right. Can I just even in California? There's this collections agency I've been paying.
Sorry, Mr. California.
Right,
You
I
have to
can't
come
even
back.
pay it off over the fucking. Oh no, it's San Mateo County. I can't even just call you up and give you my credit card. I have to go to fucking Redwood City or mail it in. Cocksuckers. Anyway, those are my fucking tax dollars. Anyway, so I go. I took care of it, but like going to that point of it makes sense. Sometimes, and I even my last guest Joe, and I want to talk to him about it. My last guest Joe, black guy, he even said like, I don't care how long you follow me in the store, like I'm gonna, I know that's racism or whatever, but like whatever. And I had this thought, I'm like, yeah, but is it really racism? It might be partially racism. Here's an example. Over and over and over in my life of working as a server. Over and over and over and over.
Are you about to talk about tips?
I am. English motherfuckers do not tip well.
It's culture.
American-born Mexicans do not tip well. Blacks either tip fucking great, like 25% or 10% or less. There's no middle ground for some reason. Now, why does my experience over and over get negated just because of the color of your skin? Like, I'm not allowed to prejudge? You're allowed to prejudge. If I put my hand on a hot stove over and over and over, I can't just go, well, I can't just like take its word for it. You know what I mean? Like if some things, I've been playing music at the BART station for many years, and I don't do it as much. But
do you
over and over.
You hear that echo?
Yeah, it's okay. It's fine. Over and over, I would have a time where there was only out of how many people that would jump over the turnstile to just get into BART for free. Most of the time, it's black. Most of the time, I'm gonna say, even if it's 50% black, is 50% the amount of like are there 50% black people who use BART? I don't think so, right? So it's a higher percentage. So what that goes to is like, okay, have a little self-knowledge about yourself and about your people. You know what I mean? Like, I can understand. I'm a little more apologetic for what's a better example of that from my own experience? I'm a little more apologetic to non-alcoholics for like, shitty alcohol, because I'm like, yeah, we kind of suck. I know, we really ruin things, don't we? I know, I'm sorry.
No, we definitely do.
We fucking fuck shit up all the time. We are awful fucking people many times. So if somebody has a bad experience with an alcoholic and doesn't want to fucking date me, I get it. Hey, my hat's off to you, baby girl. Like,
I want to go down this road right now of experiences in the past. I really do.
Why can't I prejudge? You know what I mean?
Remind me after the podcast to tell you a story.
Fuck that.
No,
I
can't.
Can't you be a little vague, maybe?
After.
All right. All I'm saying
it was
is
back in the day when I was doing some things that might not have been illegal.
Sure.
And some bad things happened. You know, and I didn't listen to some people. And they told me who to deal with and who not to deal with. And they turned me... and we didn't listen, and it turned into a really, really big thing. And guns were involved, and, you know, it wasn't...
Right.
And sometimes, yeah. But I'll tell you a funny story. We'll talk about stereotyping. So after the Giants won the World Series, the first time, huge fanatic, huge LSU fan, huge fan of any LSU baseball player that plays for a major league team. So I follow those guys. That's why my love of San Francisco got so heavy.
So that's why you... Yeah, I was like, why is this New Orleans boy a fucking Giants fan?
I didn't grow up with Major League Baseball. We grew up with college baseball, and LSU was an absolute fucking powerhouse in the 90s. They were the best fucking team. They have many, many, many World Series rings back then, and I loved going to those games and experiences with my dad and my grandpa. And shit, one time Dad only had 2 tickets to whatever. So 1992, I believe it was 92. We can look it up. We're playing USC for the regional to make it to the World Series. Okay. And my dad, we always went to LSU games. Lived about 45 minutes outside of Baton Rouge, and my grandpa is a huge baseball fan, huge. And he only had 2 tickets, and I was young at the time, so I'm 9 years old. And he took my brother a couple times for this regional games. Well, this is the championship game. This is the game that we gotta win to make it to the World Series. Right. And I can tell you all kinds of things. I remember all kinds of things about that day. But my dad only had 2 tickets, and we had 3 people. Right. So my dad used to be a New Orleans police officer, and he tells me before we leave, all 3 of us are going. Me, Grandpa, we called him Fat Papa. I know, we're assholes. We, fat shamed him. But so me, Fat Papa, and my dad are gone, and only had 2 tickets. So my dad tells me in the car, when we get to the stadium, you need to start crying and throw him a tantrum. I'm going to get us in. Okay. So the story goes, he gave me my ticket at home, and I left it at home. And we found out when we got there. So my dad just, all fucking puffy-chested and everything, just walked straight up to the Baton Rouge police officer and was like, hey, buddy, XNOPD, gave the son the ticket, he left it at home. Now we don't have tickets. He's crying, and I'm fucking pitching a fit. I listened, I can act sometimes. Right. Hands me over the turnstile to the police officer. Christ, dude. Lets all 3 of us in. God damn it. And I'll never forget that game. And that's when LSU called it Gorilla Ball because they were hitting so many home runs. And I'm 9 years old, and we're sitting behind third base, in between third base and the left field wall. And I forget who the USC player was, but it was the left fielder had just hit a home run. And it was, at the time, the most home runs between 2 teams in one game. And he comes out to left field, and he's raising the roof. And he's in Tiger Stadium. I mean, he's in Alex Box. And he starts raising the roof, and all the fans start cheering bullshit. And I'm 9 years old, and my good Catholic, you don't curse, all that bullshit. And I just looked at my grandpa like, can we say it? Right. And he just gave you the nod and the wink. Right. And we just started cheering bullshit. And 9 years old, that was just monumental. Of course. We end up winning the game, and we stayed after. And Todd Walker and Russ Johnson signed my hat. I mean, fucking love these guys. I can name half the team. So always a huge love for LSU baseball. Lots of winning. Sure. And lots of guys going to the league. And I moved here in 2006 after Katrina. And we had some boys that came to the Giants. And Brian Wilson, the big-time closer at the time, was an LSU boy. Okay. So then I started going to games, and I bought in and got season tickets 2010 before they won the World Series. Okay. Like, they weren't selling games out. You go to a day game, half a stadium. And fantastic year, Okay. My wife's uncle had season tickets. That's how I got into it. And we loved going to the games, started creating a relationship with him. Right. And we had a blast, and they ended up going in, winning the World Series. Well, when I noticed Wilson was growing his beard out, I start growing mine. Right. And the wife is buying me Just for Men, the black Afro sheen, dye. Right. Because white black isn't enough. You need to go black. Okay. So I would dye my beard and grow it out. Okay. And So I started doing that when they won the World Series in 2010 and just kept it going. And kept it going. And it got really long. I made the newspaper, the front of the Chronicle. And one of my best friends, his wife, is a Rockette dancer. So I go to New York, and at this time I was on a work trip. And it was funny because one of my buddies that came, we couldn't tell his wife that he was in New York. So we were just in Florida a little bit longer on the work trip. And it was a fun trip. But we go to Radio City Music Hall, and we have passes to go backstage and everything. And I'm dressed in a suit, overcoat, to the nines. But I have a beard down to the middle of my chest that's black. And I look maybe a little Muslimish or whatever. And I did not think that people got profiled before this, right?
Okay.
And we're in line. There's no metal detectors. I'm not sober yet. I'm drinking,
right?
Which means I'm an asshole,
right?
Not because I'm drinking, just because I'm an asshole. And we're walking in, and security comes out of nowhere and grabs my arm and pulls me to the side and says, "I'm sorry, sir, but we're gonna have to." And I'm like, "Sorry? Like, you ain't fucking sorry. You're profiling me, and I'm okay with it if you fucking admit it." And he's like, "No, that's not what it is. I'm sorry." And he kept saying sorry, and fucking the monster came out of me. I'm fucking nose to nose to him. I'm being a dick. I mean, yelling, screaming, fuck. And the whole time, I had an overcoat on with alcohol in it.
Right.
I took it off and handed it to my buddy, and my buddy walked in, and it blew my mind. This motherfucker didn't even check. And he ends up, wanding me. So we got the alcohol in.
Sure.
Cause enough of a disturbance. But then it makes me think, like, this is real. But I'm not opposed to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm really not.
Right.
And so I had that beard for a while, and I traveled.
Right.
And it was funny. I went all over the world. Not all over, outside of the United States. And on this one trip, we went to Africa, went to Spain, went to France, Sweden, the UK, all over. So I'm going in and out of immigration, right?
Right.
Not one person. Oh, back to story up. So my passport picture has this beard.
Okay.
And it extends out of the picture. That's how long it was. I shaved. So now we're on this big, long trip. And I was joking around with my brother. He's a customs agent. I'm like, uh-oh, this is going to give me some problems. He's like, oh, yes, it is.
Right.
Did not give me one problem in any country outside of the United States.
Okay.
Until I came back into the United States and I showed my passport. And that was the first time I got a comment or anything different. Well,
here's the thing. What's so wrong, not just about prejudice, some prejudice, there's nothing that bad about it. And not just that. Think about the inconvenience that it takes to even just get a comment of coming back into the America. It's just a fucking comment. Like, it's just literally 2 minutes of you getting wanded a little extra. Oh, you poor fucking thing. Like, why is that so bad? Like, why is that so bad? If I had to be pulled over and just, I'm going to get the ticket anyway, but I had to wait a couple extra minutes for cops to, like, make sure I didn't have drugs in my car. Yeah, all right, it's not that big a fucking deal. I don't need to change laws. Or you get
signed off that you're absolutely innocent and you don't have anything in your car.
I don't need to, like, make a big fucking stink about it. Sometimes life's unfair. Oh,
it is
boo fucking who? Like, everybody has some unfair shit. That's one of the things that I hate about this whole idea of, like, male patriarchy. There's a patriarchy, and the females are just like, okay, yeah. Sometimes there's this idea, and I've talked about it on the podcast, but, like, there's this thing about, like, well, and I have to, like, make sure that I'm pretty in order to, like, okay, yeah, boo fucking who? I have to make sure that I make money. Okay? I also have to make sure I'm not a fat slob.
That's how comfortable we are.
I have to make sure, right? I have to make sure that I'm clean, that I shower, that I wear nice clothes. I have to make sure that I drive. I have to make sure that we're all doing things for each other. We all have to prejudge, and it's okay, and it's not the end of the fucking world, you fucking victims.
This accountability, that's why I love, you know who Jocko Willink says?
Oh my God! I've just started to get.
I have a man crush on him for sure,
Jesus
and there's
Christ.
reasons to, because he's the man. Like, if there's a man you want to model, it's him. The dude is.
I'm assembling a mix as a dude. I think I think we're always doing this, but I'm assembling a mix. Jocko's in there, Rogan's in there. Peterson's in there.
A little Bert?
My dad is in there. There's like a bunch of like mix of like, okay, what's the amalgam of like, I think I'm using amalgam, of the right man, and that's the goal, for me. But like, yeah, I mean, once I lose, I'm cutting a couple more pounds of fat. After that, I'm gonna be I already am a motherfucker, but I'm going to be a motherfucker. I'm going to be a motherfucker. I love being a dude. It's so much fun. I love being a dude.
Jocko for the sheer fact of accountability.
Oh yeah, extreme ownership.
The world is absolutely unfair.
Oh yeah.
But if you're disciplined and you can take extreme accountability,
right,
we can beat it.
Right.
So there's either complaining or there's shutting the fuck up and doing what you have to do.
Right.
And we see it in sobriety.
Right.
Either you're ready to do it or you're not.
Yeah.
Period.
Right.
Like, I lose track of what I've done with my career. I used to be in the corporate world, doing that thing, wearing the suits and, going to all these big...
colorful suits.
Dude, you got to have color, man. You got to have a pocket square. You're naked if you don't have a pocket square, brother.
Cufflinks? Like legit cufflinks? Not like...
Oh, baby. Come on, man. You've seen the way I dress. Most people compliment
I hate
it.
you so
Some
much.
people don't. You got to have the right shoes, too. My guys used to hear me when I'd go visit sites, all the retailers. I had to change my shoes because I'd wear really high-end, expensive leather loafers. And the heels, when I'd hit the tile, you could hear me walk. So I had to change shoes when I'd go do surprise visits because they could hear me coming down the aisles.
That's awesome.
And they would tell me that. But to go back to it, changing the whole corporate thing got out of that because it just wasn't me. Like I didn't feel what I was doing, and I hated it. And I got out of it, and now I'm in this new career, and I got to remind myself I'm doing everything right. Like, but I'm not where I want to be right now.
Sure.
Like I want to be further, but I don't.
Right.
Like, am I doing it right? Yeah, you're doing it right. Like, I'm back to making $15 an hour, grinding it out, and doing what I have to, and the sacrifice is enough.
Right.
Like, lived in 8 different places in the matter of 2 years. I didn't see my wife, but maybe a few times, here and there, months in between. There's a lot of sacrifice in that.
Right.
And I forget that when I'm talking to people because it's just like you talk to guys and I tell them what I do and they're like, oh my God, dude, I wish I could do that. I'm like, you can. You totally can today.
Right.
Go to the office, tell them you quit. I can't do that. That's what I told myself for 9 fucking years at that old job.
Right.
Well, 8 years and 11 months because I wanted to quit after the first month.
Right.
I hated it, and I stuck it out because of family and other things and everything like that.
And I'm sure money.
And I made it work.
Right.
It was a lot to do with family because I was never in that mindset that I couldn't make money, especially in the beginning. Like, I don't own my own business prior to that, and money, I could make money. But it was, I needed approval, and I thought that you had to do something you did not want to do to gain approval or success or whatever. Right. And like, I don't want to be like this person. I'm just going to stick it out. And it's like, well, if you're doing the wrong thing, then sticking it out's wrong.
Right.
But if you're doing the
which applies to relationships,
it
applies to everything.
So it's this fine line, like, well, if you're doing the right thing and you don't want to put in the sacrifice, then you're wrong. Yeah. But if you're doing the wrong thing and you're sticking it out, well, that's wrong also.
Right.
So it's like, now I'm doing the right thing. And it's like, you have to stay the course.
That's part of the extreme ownership thing. Like with this podcast, it is a pain in my ass, and obviously go to Patreon and fucking help out. But like, it's a pain in my wallet, it's a pain in my ass, it's a pain in my time, it's a pain on everything. I sacrifice lots of time and energy. I have literally spent this year,
which we love,
creating,
it's entertaining me. I like it.
It spent a year creating this album. Yeah, I got I think it was $4,600 from contributions, even though my goal was only $3,500. Like, a lot of people have contributed greatly to this album, but I have sacrificed much more than $4,600, and not just that, but it's been a year of my life to record this album, and I don't have any fucking guarantee it's gonna go fucking anywhere.
And how many naysayers do you have around you?
All of the money, right? All of the money is gone because recording an album is extremely expensive. It's not just expensive money monetarily; it's expensive time and driving and mental and like I think this sounds right, but I'm not sure. Maybe if we add horns. No, I think having a musician come out and try something and it doesn't go right, and you're like, "Fuck, was it my fault?" You know what I mean? Like having times where like. I mean, if you spend that much time...
The behind-the-scenes grind that no one that got successful talks about until they got successful.
And not just that, but even interpersonally, like with Gowan Matthews, who's the producer, he's the fucking man. I love him with all of my heart, and I'm trying to fucking pressure him into coming on to the podcast. But Gowan Matthews, an incredible producer, worth way more than what I'm paying him. But like... He's but even then, when you spend, yesterday we were in the studio for 7 hours. When you spend that much time, there's gonna be some Pete that comes out of there. Like there's still some. I think 2 or 3 studio sessions ago, I like got in my head and I was like, it's not like that bad. I'm a very different person than I was a fucking year and a half ago. But like they're still like, man, something's weird interpersonally. So like now there's like a new relationship because I spend this much time, even though it's a professional relationship, it's a working relationship. But it's like now we got to talk about what's wrong here interpersonally between he and I because I've spent. So anyway, it's been this year, not just year. The oldest song I wrote on this album is from 2011. I've been beating my fucking head against the grain, struggling, the hustle for a long fucking time. And I don't get to complain yet. I gave myself 10 years. In 2021, 2022, I'll get to start complaining. But I'm just saying, there's a lot of fucking shit. And not just that, I'm running into... within the system. The system is a little screwed, and I'm not being a victim. It is a little screwed against musicians. There are 700 or so people who like my Facebook page, as an example. They don't know many of the posts. And not just that, but it'll actually tell me only 30 people have seen this post. I was like, wait. Seen the post. Not liked it, not whatever. Seen the post, which I'm like, yeah, but 700 people follow me. Like 700 people intentionally clicked like or clicked follow and want to see where I'm going to play, what content I'm creating, what the new podcast, but they don't get to see it. So the system is screwed against me. Yeah, at the same time, boo fucking who. My life is incredibly good. My life is a different way, my world. I'm literally talking for upwards of an hour with a friend about all kinds of shit. I can say whatever. I can say faggot. I can say nigger. I can say whatever the fuck I want, and it's and people are intentionally coming and clicking on this. Cunt. My life is good. My life is so fucking good.
That's where I'm at right now. It's just like, so I made this sacrifice, and now I'm literally at my dream job.
Right. Do you want to tell the field?
Yeah, it's golf.
Okay.
And I'm at my dream place. And I don't know, like, I'm not to that next place yet. Like, the 10-year thing you said, right? Mm-hmm. My original goal was to become big guy, the head guy. And now I'm at that point where it's just like, I'm absolutely adoring and loving what I do, and I'm exactly where I want to be. But do I want to go after being the big guy anymore? Okay. I've been the guy. I've been the manager, you know? I've managed 220 people. I've went through all that HR crap and different things. Right. And then it gets you away from your passion. Yeah. And if I become the big boss, it's going to get me away from my passion. And it's like, okay, there's timelines. And I've been in it. So I sober in 2013. And I got in the industry also in 2013, which is an awesome story. So I've been in it from 2013 to 2018, which is actually making it real right now. That's crazy. And I went from somewhere where no-name place to the pinnacle of the business, which I never dreamed of. Like, I didn't think that was ever possible.
But did you intentionally start out thinking, I want to be a manager?
No.
Okay.
No.
So that wasn't the dream. Necessarily.
The original dream was if you had all the money in the world, if you won the lottery today, and you didn't have to worry about money, and you could do something for free, or for fun, what would it be? And I said, it's really easy. Take care of AT&T Ballpark, that cathedral down the street right here, and or mow the fairways in a golf course, a specific golf course at that. And I got to do that.
Right.
And it took less than 3 years.
Right.
Blew my mind. Blew my mind. Like, I have a couple undergraduates prior to all this situation, and like I got so scared when I got into the new industry. It was like I was like a little boy again.
Right.
Like, oh my God, like I got to go back to school. Like, what if I don't get accepted?
Right.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Right.
Like, I graduated with honors in economics and, summa cum laude, all that shit. But I was back to ground zero. Like, oh my God, like I'm in something new. I don't know that. I'm going back to school. Like, what if they don't accept me?
Right.
And literally concerned and worried and scared. But I knew I had to keep doing what I was doing no matter what. And then, like, I used to be on all these meds prior to getting sober. And it's just like, I don't know if I can go back to school. I don't know if I can leave my wife. Like, we don't have money. Like, I'm not making what I used to make. Like, I just took a very large pay cut. And I'm like, but school's on the East Coast. Like, how are we going to do this?
There were lots of reasons to not.
There was no reason
risk.
not to.
Right.
It was the most supportive, loving wife in the world that saw me as a monster before getting sober.
Right.
And knew that I was chasing a dream.
Right.
And was supportive of it.
Right. God bless her heart.
I heard a prior podcaster talking about women making money compared to men making money. That was a huge thing for me for a very long time. I couldn't make less than my wife.
Right.
Because I wouldn't feel like a man. Now, she makes way, way more than me.
Right.
But that was another hurdle I had to go through mentally. Right. Like, oh my God, like I can't do this.
But if you set it up, I mean, I think there are exceptions.
There are. But that was something I had to go through and have to get comfortable with. And like, I mean, I didn't have I went from driving, a company car that was brand new and flying places and having, expense accounts and all that bullshit to I have to ride my bike to work because I don't have a car.
Right.
So I
take Caltrain and shit.
I couldn't choose any other place because it wasn't close enough to my house.
Right.
And going through this whole experience of getting sober and changing everything. And I am an ego fucking maniac. And how dare you think I'm just like, shoveling dirt.
Right.
And you go through all this and I'm like, where's the... And the mind would play with me.
Right.
Like, you're a piece of shit. You made the wrong decision. Like, this is how it's going to always be. Never seeing the large picture. And then something would break, But I was enjoying what I did. I loved going there. I was in my sanctuary when I was on that course. Right. Every day I was on that course.
Right.
My mind would take over when I left that course.
Sure.
And then I get into school. And then all the, just like coming out of high school, you're going into new places. And now I'm sober and I have no meds. I'm like, holy shit. And you know what? I got through it. I rekindled a relationship with Bad News. He knows who he is. And we got to have a wonderful time on the East Coast. But it wasn't easy at all.
Right.
And I had to get into debt. Now I'm dealing with that debt. One of my biggest fears in the world was, for someone to find out that I'm not as financially secure as maybe I portray.
Everybody listening to this is afraid of that.
And it's so monumental in my own mind. But it's still staying the course.
Right.
And then it's like, okay, we live which is 2 hours away from the now new place that I'm working at. And well, how are we going to make that work?
Right.
I'll rent this room out. And then I rent this room out in this place, and what an ordeal that was. Don't go through Craigslist to get a room. So we're renting our,
I've had a good experience.
I have not. I've almost gotten a fight, okay? Like, this dude comes home. Oh, this is funny. So I'm sleeping in this room that has no screen on the window, but the window's open or whatever. I won't say the city. And I'm sleeping one night, and I hear somebody outside the window, and I fucking jumped out of bed, scared shitless, threw a couple punches at the window, and screamed. And like they just went running away. And I'm like, damn, dude, I should totally have my guns here. Scared shitless. So I tell him, and he's like, oh, there was nobody back there. And it's not exactly the best neighborhood.
Right.
And he's like, oh, it's probably a raccoon. I'm like, motherfucker, it was a human being. I know it.
Right.
So then another incident happens, and then this third incident happened. He calls me, and same guy that owns the house. I'm sleeping one night, and all of a sudden, dude, I hear a human being fly down the stairs. Like, hits one wall, hits the other wall, tumbles on the stairs, and I'm like, furniture comes flying. I'm like, holy shit, I jump out of bed. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. I have to wake up in like 2 hours. I'm like, what the fuck? And it's him, drunk. Fell down the stairs, and I knew he had a lady friend over. I thought he maybe gave her what she deserved and knocked her down the stairs. Right. And I'm like, holy shit, dude. I'm like, man, I need to get out of here. This is all within like days. Mm-hmm. And in the third instance, he calls me and yells at me for leaving the stove on for over a day. And I'm like, I haven't used the kitchen, brother. Like, that's you. And I'm like, I can't do this. Like, And I go to move out, and he didn't want to give me my deposit back, and we almost got in a fist fight in his front driveway. Oh, dude, I wanted to knuckle rape that sumbitch so bad, right. But I had to write some stuff about it.
Right. All of this to say, you have spent the time. One of the things you brought up initially was Jocko. And one of the things, as far as this extreme ownership, and one of the reasons why I went on my little ranty thing there, was to say, you set a goal. What do you actually want to do? What do you actually want? Which is a terrifying question, always has been. What do you actually want?
90% of people have no idea.
Right. And then set that goal, and then here's the biggest hurdle for me. It's not a huge hurdle is, okay, what do I actually want to do? That's like, oh, fuck. Do I really? I kind of know in my belly. But, okay, second thing is, set the goals, and set small goals as well as big goals, right? Peterson. Okay, I'm going to start a fucking podcast. Okay, all right, I'm gonna post every day about it. I'm going to be an annoying Facebook guy. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start putting money on advertisement. So, okay, you set small goals, you set big goals. But the biggest thing is the diligence. The biggest thing is the discipline. That's the fucking hardest one for me.
And you have to do what you want. I would not have done any of this just to keep a job. That would have been, there's no way. If it was something that I didn't have a passion for or enthusiasm about, I would not have went down that road. There's just no way. Absolutely no way. But I love what I do and the world that I get to work in and the things I get to see and the people I get to work with.
Right.
That is just, to me, that I'm in heaven. Like, I don't need anything else. I really don't.
Well, here's because I'm feeling actually, and I was thinking about this because yesterday I do this gig at Movin Wine Bar, and I did a lot of promotion for it. I didn't do a lot, like a ton, but like at least 3 days in advance. And you could say, oh, maybe that's part of the reason why.
But you've done
not.
This. I think
I've done it weeks in advance. I've done it months in advance.
Is this your first time doing it there?
No, I've done it tons of times.
Okay, that's okay. I've seen you do it there.
And I'm playing there again, by the way, and I'm not, going to go off into this,
definitely go see him perform. He's awesome.
Thank you.
He definitely doesn't think so.
No, I think so now. I think so.
My wife and I love seeing him, and he's absolutely phenomenal with kids too. Yeah. He doesn't like to hear that, but
no, I like to hear that.
The little ones adore him.
Yeah, no, I just wish the little ones had money. That's all it is. If kids had money, I'd be fucking rolling in it.
Disney World is worried about kids not having money?
Right.
Fuck no. True. You play to the kids, and then mom and dad will pay.
Book me for your bat mitzvah, I always say. But like, here's the thing. So like, I was playing last night, and Lisa McFadden, she's the owner and proprietor of Movin Wine Bar. It's a fucking amazing place in the Montclair district of Oakland. And I don't like Oakland, but I like this area. It's up in the hills, and it's quiet, and it's like, kind of just, kind of cool. It's just fucking cool, man. And it's growing. And anyway, it's rich. And I'm in this area, and I'm playing again at Movin Wine Bar, I think on November 16th. Anyway. And again, I did a lot of promotion, and I'm not saying that it's anybody. I'm not complaining, but like not a lot of people there again. And I've been playing, and part of this might be I need to get the fuck out of the Bay Area, but and I know a lot of people adore my music. I know a lot of people adore what I do. Not just my covers, but my originals are gaining a lot of traction. This podcast is gaining a lot of traction. I know that I know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm not like a shitty, I'm not one of these rappers who are just like the struggle, and you listen to their music and it's like, fuck off. Like, I know I'm good. But it's like, again, which goes back to that discipline idea. Because it's like, okay, again. Okay, I'm putting in work. The fucking grind. But it's just like, motherfucker. And I know I'm so much further along now than I was a year ago.
Same exact thing with me with that, with work. And you know what really helps me out a ton? Is listening to those podcasts. I'm a huge comedy junkie, as you know.
Right.
But they talk about the old days when they did not know they were going to be successful.
Right.
They had no idea.
Right.
They were sleeping on a friend's couch.
Right.
It's totally that thing of mom and dad are like, you're not fucking being a comedian. Mm-hmm. There's no money in it.
Right.
There's no security in it.
Right.
You can't live that life. Right. Like, you need something more secure because we're too scared to venture outside of the box.
Sure.
And they did it anyway. And if you saw them in the first few years, it was a shitty existence.
Right.
Joey Diaz talks about it all the time.
Right.
I love Ari talking. Oh my God. I love listening to all those guys. Mm-hmm. But if you would have heard, when you hear them talk about when it was early on, it wasn't working.
Right.
It was grinding, not knowing how to eat. Joey Diaz tells the best stories about it. He's just grinding to make it, Mm-hmm. And you keep at it and you keep at it. I mean, you look at yourself and you said 700 Facebook followers, right? Mm-hmm. Out of that 700, they're probably pretty busy people and they have pretty active lives.
Oh yeah, no, and I'm not being one of those,
I know. I'm just throwing this out there.
Right.
But like, for instance, wifey and I had to know in advance, like to come see you when you were 2 blocks away from the house. If we didn't know that, you could have been 2 blocks away from the house and we still wouldn't have seen you.
Sure.
And
so, part of that's my fault, but sometimes I'm like, it's the type of gig where I don't even want to share it with people. I'm just doing it to make money.
It's the power
and
in numbers.
Practice.
It's the power in numbers too.
Sure.
As your numbers grow, you're going to have more people. So, the few people that are really close to you,
right.
You don't have to count on them. It's just, it's more. And it's the same thing with all the comedians,
Right. And not just that, one of the things Patrice brought up.
O'Neill?
Yeah. Best
Don't you
comedian.
love him?
I fucking adore him. He's, in my opinion, the best. I mean, for me, it goes Patrice O'Neill, Colin Quinn.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And then maybe Carlin. So Carlin's one of those people, I appreciate it.
I don't view him as a comedian.
Carlin? He's more of like a writer, philosopher. Yeah, I get that.
That talks truth.
I get that. But yeah, Patrice, Colin Quinn, and then, I don't know, y'all can fight over number 3, but those are the 2 for me. Anyway, so did you watch Rogan's new special, by the way? It's fucking great,
I went
dude.
in person.
Really?
And it was phenomenal.
Awesome.
2 things happened. When he's talking about women, how they just can't keep their fucking mouth shut.
Right.
And I haven't watched the whole special, but I went to the special.
Sure.
I watched it when it came out right after I had surgery.
Right.
So I was a little crazy mind.
Right.
And he's talking about how he's making fun of all, and tell me if this is in the special or not, talking about how he's making fun of all the guys that like the wrestlers and saying the gay jokes about the guys.
Yeah.
And he's like, did you see any man stand up and like tell me I'm I'm wrong or whatever?
Right.
And he starts, he's like, but nope, that woman will do it. Mm-hmm. Watch.
Right.
And we're in San Francisco. And he utters, Hillary Clinton.
Right.
And this bitch had the audacity in the middle of a 1,000-person fucking auditorium to stand up and yell.
Right.
And it played.
It was
apparently
perfect.
He knew what was going on,
right.
And it played into it. And boy, I belly laughed like a motherfucker.
Right,
you cunt.
Right.
Like, you just got everything that was coming for you.
Okay, again, females, do you understand you have a problem going on? I know that we were bad people for a very long time, and
females,
we still
just
sometimes
give my wife
can
a
be.
call. She knows how to act. She is.
Don't say she knows how to act. Okay, but hang on. Because you got to phrase it the right way. There are women who enjoy being women, and they kind of like, okay, here's what, that female who stood up in the crowd and was
is
insane.
An insecure person that has no idea that she's insecure.
And does not have a man in her life.
Maybe
she may have a boyfriend. She may have a husband. Yeah. But that dude is not... He's not a man.
I just want to say
because if you can say that,
who invented tampons?
A man.
Exactly.
Yeah, right, I like that. But anyway, go watch his special and females fix your fucking sex. Anyway, but the reason why I brought up Patrice had this idea, and he talked about it when it comes to like the grind. part of the problem of being a comedian and a musician or any artist or any, even what you're doing, is there's not a specific path. There is a specific, if you grow up, I want to be a doctor. There is a specific path. There's not just that, but a timeline. You go to school, you do this, you take you intern,
residency,
you blah blah blah, and there is a timeline. There's an exact fucking map for you. Doing what I'm doing, I could have gotten famous 2 days after singing at my first open mic, or I may never, or in 10 years, or in 3 more months. I don't know. It's not fucking specific. It is all random and insane, So,
which is fun.
Yeah, I guess.
Like I can't do the this is where you're gonna be, this is where you're gonna be, this is where you're gonna do. I can't do that. It's not me. It's not my personality.
Touche.
I'm just all over the place. I love the spontaneity and different things.
Touche.
I
tell you though, I really am getting fucking. I know I do it for money, and it does help with getting other gigs, and it does help, and I do get to play some originals. But I am fucking sick of playing covers at wine bars and breweries. I am fucking sick of it.
How sick?
I'm done with it. I know I'm good, but get me the fuck out of here.
Journey. How sick is all these old time band? Garth Brooks. You think Garth Brooks wants to sing
Baton Rouge,
Friends in Low Places another time?
Baton Rouge is so good, dude. That song is so fucking. And I am not a fan of country. That song is the shit.
I know you're not the biggest sports fan, but one time in your life, this
go
is
to an LSU game and fucking listen to them.
To go to an LSU game at Death Valley on a Saturday night, and your life will change.
They play Baton Rouge? Did they play the entire song?
Just go to the bar. Go to the bar. It is... Oh, dude. Their new thing is they play the song Neck, which I have no idea what it is. But at the end, all the students, 102,000 people were in the stadium 2 weeks ago against Georgia. And they wouldn't play the song Neck, and they end up playing another song, and the student section start doing the rhyme or the beat to Neck, and at the end of it, it's suck that tiger dick, bitch. And you literally can hear it loud and clear as day. And they asked the coach about the song, and he's like, I like the rhythm. I'm not sure about the words, Coach O Gotagas. But yeah.
Man.
How much comedy do you watch?
A lot. Stand-up, it doesn't grab me as much. I love Patrice and Colin because of who they are, intellectually, but especially in conversations like this. I love those guys. Yeah. There's hours and hours and hours of radio shows, especially Opie and Anthony, Jim Norton, hours and hours of just conversational, picking apart, and they're fucking hilarious on the fly, everything. And it's just, that's part of the reason why I'm thinking about moving to New York. I want to hang out and be with people at least like them. If I ever get to hang out with Colin, if I ever get to hang out with those guys and just be a part of them, that would be wonderful. But even if I get to just hang out with comedians from New York, because all the fucking comedians over here are just fucking whiny little pussies.
You mean in San Francisco?
Not all of them. There are some of them I love a lot. There are some who, I'm sorry if you're listening, I love you and I want to do shows with you, whatever. But some of y'all motherfuckers. It's okay. You
can be a pussy and still love them.
Right, but you can't. I can't. You can't make some jokes. What do you mean you can't make some jokes? Is it funny? Is it funny?
What's horrible?
Then you can make a fucking joke. Be a fucking adult.
This is the problem with San Francisco.
Assholes.
Ari Shaffir. If you're going to an Ari Shaffir show, you fucking better know what you're in for. And if you bring a friend that doesn't, that's even better because it's going to be hilarious.
Right.
But you better know what you're in for if you're going to see him. And then you're going to make me feel uncomfortable when I'm at a show at Cobb's Comedy because I laughed at his joke and you were like, oh no, this is over the line. You can't laugh. Fuck you.
Something happened like that?
Oh my God. Have you seen his new show?
No, I know he's rough and tumble for sure.
Imagine outrageous and then put an asterisk next to it and do it to the 10th power.
I forgot before because I won't be able to sit with myself. Bill Hicks is probably number 3 or 4 to me. Bill Hicks. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
And it's a full hour about Judaism.
I heard him talking about this.
Ari Shaffir is a very, very, very intelligent man that studied the Torah immensely.
Right.
Went all the way to Israel to do all that stuff.
Right.
His family, I couldn't imagine how his family views him.
Right.
Holy shit,
I want to see him and Shapiro debate.
He can hold his own with Shapiro. I bet you he's above Shapiro when it comes to that. Because Shapiro did not take the same line that Ari took.
Okay.
Ari was way more engulfed in the Torah and everything. Like, he is...
But he did Shapiro did the fucking school. He did everything.
But anyway...
All Jews go to fucking Israel, by the way. What is this strange thing?
Come on, dude.
Not all.
Come on.
But I'm saying there are a lot of them motherfuckers.
It depends on...
14, 15, go out there, go drinking, and just, fucking...
Maybe that's... Yeah.
I don't know, eat matzah? I don't know what you meant.
Little matzo ball soup, baby.
Gefilte fish.
But he starts to pick apart the Torah and make jokes about it. So he makes jokes about masturbation and how they're just totally inbred and how they have to have sex with a sheet in between them. And he is getting on one, and he's going down a road from a full-blooded Jew whose dad is Orthodox, and he is getting really, really, really outrageous. Right. That's why I'm there.
Right. It's a comedy show.
And I took a buddy from work who adored it.
Right.
And I took another buddy from another place. And he even looked at me at one of these jokes and was like, "You can't laugh." It was a joke about Auschwitz.
Oh, good. I can't wait. Well, you're going to fucking... Don't make it awful.
Don't spoil it.
Don't butcher it. All right.
Anyway.
Well, is it on a special yet or not yet?
It's on his touring thing.
Okay, so it's not on Netflix or anything
No,
yet? Okay.
none of those. So you have to go see him live to see it, and you got to see Ari to do it.
I'm sure.
And he starts asking the crowd, what are the stereotypes of Jewish people?
Nice.
And he knows what they're going to throw out. Right. So no one's going to say what he's going to say. And people start saying it. Big nose, they look alike.
Money.
They're cheap.
Right.
And every time someone says something, he counteracts it with, we're not cheap, we're way financial superior to you. Totally taking the stance that like Jewish is great, which is it is. I mean,
I've heard too, by the way, write me at conservativepodcast@gmail.com. I've heard two conflicting. I've heard girls say that Jews have small dicks, and I've had girls say that Jews have big dicks. You can't have a stereotype that goes different fucking directions. Like, just pick a side, or like, are they just random? Is it like micro or macro, like huge? Like, what is it? I can't. I'm sorry. Continue.
Anyway, so he's asking all these, stereotypes. He's like, and I might butcher this joke. I'm not a comedian at all, but the punchline is he's like, well, in my experience, I found Jews to be very pushy. And he's like, has anyone ever heard of a place called Auschwitz? The room goes fucking silent, dude.
Right.
And they all know it's coming.
Right.
Which, I know it's coming. I'm excited. I'm giddy. I'm like,
right.
Where's he throwing?
Right.
And he starts talking about the camp, the real camp.
Right.
And he's like, so these guys were in line, and they didn't know where they were going. And the second guy in line, also a Jew, pushes the first guy out of line so he could be first in line to go to Auschwitz.
Right.
And like that, he's building up for like 10 minutes and drops that. He's like, so yeah, they're pretty fucking pushy.
Right.
The whole crowd is silent, and me and my buddy are cracking up laughing, and my other buddy just grabs my leg and is like, you can't laugh at that. And I'm like, that's why we're here.
Right.
Like, why is it offensive?
Well,
like, we're making light of something that was so tragic.
Right.
And we're going to laugh at it. And then hopefully what it does is it spurs a conversation after.
Right.
Or
it doesn't even spur a conversation. It's just something that you understand was awful, but just because you laugh doesn't mean, like, if a racist makes a race joke, then it's bad. But if a non-racist makes a race joke, it's not that. Do you understand? Like, what matters
both
is
could be funny.
Yeah.
I mean, both could be funny. I'm not discriminating on fucking me laughing, dude. I love laughing.
I need to hear some race jokes from you. Where's it? Because you're from the fucking South.
Dude, that's
the only ones I know are like, okay, who's the richest man in Mexico?
Okay, the funniest race joke that we would not funniest, but the one that was always.
Hang on, I gotta piss. Do you want? How much time you got?
Oh, I got time.
All right, cool. Let's press pause.
I'm gonna go.
We're gonna be back with race jokes.
I came from.
Hang on.
Shit was crazy.
Of course. All right. Doors closed. So, why wasn't Jesus born in Mexico? Because even God couldn't find 3 wise men and a virgin. Go.
So mine, I can't remember. There were lots of them.
Okay, well, fucking throw them all out.
My memory isn't as good as it used to be.
I understand.
But the one that I remember that was always quoted was, have you ever seen a film called Boondock Saints?
A little bit.
Do you know the funny man?
No.
Oh, shit.
It's not going to work then?
Oh, it's going to work. I'm just going to fucking tell the joke.
Okay, do it.
But you're probably not going to laugh.
All right.
But it was hilarious
at
the time. So it's in a movie, and they're with the mafia don, and the, quote, funny man who works for him is on the other side. And he finds out his name's the funny man, the mafia don, and the mafia don's like, I'm having a shitty day. Tell me a fucking joke, funny man. Make me laugh. And he's nervous as all fuck in the room, and he's like, there's a white man, a Mexican, and a black... Spick! There's a white man, there's a spick, and a black man. It's nigger. And he's like really apprehensive of saying, nigger or whatever.
Right.
It's like there's a white man, there's a spick, and there's like Ron Jeremy is sitting next to him. Mm. Yeah. So Ron Jeremy's in the movie, and he's about to say black man, and Ron Jeremy just looks at him. He's like, and a nigger. and there's this genie, and he rubs the lamp, and they all get one wish, and he asked the Mexican, and then the mafia don chimes in, spick. So he asked the spick, if you had one wish, what would it be? And he's like, if you would just make all my people free and back home in Mexico or whatever.
Right.
And he's like, poof. So he's back at home with all his people or whatever. And he's like, okay. And he's like, the black man, I said nigger. And he's like, oh, okay. And he's so nervous telling this joke. And he's like, okay. The nigger rubs the lamp, and Genie pops out, and he goes, what's your wish? And he's like, if you could just free all my black friends, nigger, and all my nigger friends, and if we could be back home free in our homeland in Africa. And he goes, poof, all the blacks are gone, and they're in their homeland. And he stops, and he's like, this isn't funny. And the mafia don's all mad, and he's like, finish the joke. So he goes to finish the joke, and he's like, the white guy rubs the lamp, and Genie comes out, and he goes, what's your wish? He goes, so you mean to tell me that all the spicks and niggers are gone? Genie's like, yeah. He goes, I'll have a Coke. Right. And like the mafia don is sitting on the other side, and he's fucking silent, like death stare, and he's no idea how he's gonna react, and he just busts out laughing, and the mafia don's like, I'll have a Coke.
Right. I like it. I like the what's the difference between a Jew and a pizza?
Oh.
A pizza doesn't scream when you throw it in the oven. Although I don't think they screamed, probably, right? I mean, I think they were already dead in the gas chamber.
It was gas, yeah.
Right, so, and then there's the, what's the difference between a black man and a pizza? A pizza can actually feed a family of 4.
Totally.
Or there's, how do you start a race in Mexico? You roll a penny down a hill. Who's the richest man in Mexico? The guy who gets the penny.
How do you fit 100 Jews in a Volkswagen?
How?
In the ashtray. Come on, man. That's
awesome.
One.
Yeah.
What else?
What's some other ones?
I can't think of them. They used to... My dad's police buddies used to have a lot of funny ones.
Oh, of course, dude. Oh my God, dude. The fucking... A Southern cop? Holy shit.
See, that's the crazy thing with race. So my dad's best friend, who was like a stepfather to me, was murdered. And at his funeral... today people would classify, racist because he would make jokes,
Right.
And he was one, like, he'd wake up the homeless in the French Quarter by hosing them down with a fire hose, which is Christ. So insensitive, right?
Right.
Hilarious at the time,
Sure.
And he'd always, you get desensitized to this shit. You know, you're working in an environment like that.
I feel fucking terrible for cops, man.
Anyway, people would definitely today, if they heard some of the jokes or, the things said, would be against it. But yet, you go to his funeral, and I remember this like it was yesterday, and this is many years ago. And one of the guys that got up and spoke was a young black kid that he helped out from the streets and got him into the motor pool and was always, always there for him and always helped him. And it's just like, yeah, he would tell off-color jokes.
Right.
And maybe he profiled people. Maybe it was for the right reason.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the wrong reason every once in a while.
Right.
But he was a damn good guy.
Right.
And it didn't matter if you were black, white, or brown. He helped you out. Right. He was the type of guy that, the drug dealer in the community got caught. You can either go to jail or you can donate to the church, back in the day. And you hear all this about the South, how segregated it is and everything. And I hear it in language, but I never saw it really.
Right. Right. Even in
Oklahoma. I don't know how to explain that.
In Oklahoma last year, I saw
more segregated in where I live.
Right.
There are...
In the Bay Area.
No, I live further south. But
same thing.
No. No.
It's near.
It blows my mind to hear the way people talk in my community, which is pro and very liberal, but I do not see those people in our community.
Right.
It's like everything's segregated and pro this, pro this, pro this, pro this, but it's just like you're not living amongst,
Here's
or
what
like
that is.
The whole segregation of San Francisco,
They see liberals.
They don't want
rich liberals
segregation,
want blacks in their charity and in their art, but they don't want them anywhere else. They want them on the ballet stage. Oh, they're singing very authentic African beats and wearing African hats and wearing things around their African scarves. If a black guy comes into their life, they don't want that. No.
Like,
just in their art and in their charity. That way they can still shit on them and say like, oh, they're very poor. They can feel better about themselves.
There's still the token black kids at some of these private schools down where I live.
For sure.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But they're very accepting and they're very loving and they accept everybody. It's like, well, I don't see it.
Right.
And that's it's that whole action thing compared to words.
Right.
And if you hear me speak sometimes, maybe you might think I'm not the nicest guy,
right,
or different things.
But
but if you see how I act,
right,
it's completely different.
And jokes are fucking jokes too, by the way.
You know that.
Right.
Exactly. And there's jokes that have truth.
Sure.
That's okay.
Right.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some of them. My dad would come up and... My dad's best friend would have jokes all the time. Like, he was an absolute character. The shit that we used to do. So, I'll tell you a funny story. He was the type of guy... We go to his house to sell my little sister's Girl Scout cookies to him.
Okay.
And my mom leaves my brother and I in the car. And my dad purposely knew what was going on. So, like, we brought toilet paper and we're going to roll his house while my mom's inside selling Girl Scout cookies to him as if he wouldn't know who did it. We were very young.
Right.
So we roll his house and it's like during winter or whatever. And he was going to come outside and hose us. But my mom told him not to. She didn't want to get us sick. And he's like, don't worry. We'll get them back. I'm young, dude. I'm way young.
Okay.
So he decides to get us back. And I just make my second communion. That's how young I am.
A good Catholic boy.
Good Catholic boy in my white suit, pimping it out. And we get home from second communion, and he calls. And I answer the phone. I always loved answering the phone. And I know who it is. And, he's like, hey, Mike, go to the front porch. Somebody left you a present. I'm like, what? He goes, somebody left some horse shit on the front porch. I'm like, no, they didn't. And he's like, walk out to the front porch. Cordless phone. And I walk out. And he always described the story. All you hear is, Daddy! And there's horse shit all over the front porch.
Awesome.
His little girl had a birthday pony ride, so he collected the pony shit and came and put it on them.
See, this is such like neighborhood shit.
Oh,
this
totally.
is such like neighborhood shit, which, by the way, the Bay Area, the leftists of the Bay Area, y'all ain't got fucking family shit. Y'all ain't got fucking neighbors. Y'all don't have a fucking community. You're the city that sleeps. You want to get your fucking Netflix and your Chinese food, and you want to go home and be alone and feel good about yourself because you, in theory, like black people.
And they don't tell hi to you. And they don't tell you hi. So it didn't end there, right? So it kept going. He makes fun of me. You know, we have fairs at schools. I don't know if they have those here.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe. Ours are better. But we have the big fair, and every class does a little dance skit.
Right.
Well, our uniform at school was short sleeve white button downs and short gray pants. Well, I put a red bow tie on for this dance.
I figured, yeah.
I looked exactly like Pee Wee Herman. Mm-hmm. So my dad's friend makes fun of me, calling me Pee Wee Herman. Well, he hurt my feelings. And I guess it's okay down south to hurt your feelings when you're a little kid. They try and help out. So I was so upset. You know, he bruised my ego, and I'm like 9 years old.
Right.
And he felt horrible. So he decided, this is another reason I got into the golf stuff. So my dad and this guy would always help put on these charitable golf tournaments and everything. And I'd get to get out of school and go to them. And that was awesome. And I'd drive the carts around, and it was just fun. So he upset me big time. And like, I held a grudge against him for a little while. So this golf tournament comes up, and it's
How old were you?
Young, 9, 8,
Okay.
10, something around there. And this golf tournament comes up. Unbeknownst to me, he gets a trophy made of a horse's ass.
Nice.
And they're giving out the awards. We had like this big dinner after. And he's giving out the awards to the guys that, you know, closest to the hole, straightest drive, all these different things. And then he calls me up to the stage to present this last trophy.
Yeah.
And it's his way of getting back in my good graces and blaming the Pee Wee Herman shit on my dad. And he presents the horse's trophy to my dad. Nice. And I thought that was the greatest thing in the world. You know, there's, you know, a couple hundred men in there, and I get to present dad with a horse's ass trophy. And you know, we're back in his good graces, and he was just one of those guys. It was always pranks and always fun, and I don't get that here. Right. You know, I posted a little video. My wife's best friend has 3 little kids, and I adore them. I'm with them all the time. Since I'm out of work right now with this knee, I go pick them up from school, and we have a great time. 3 years old to like 5 years old, and little man we're attached to the hip. We have a good time. Well, I saw this little video of a dad pulling a prank on a little girl, and he puts water on the floor, and she's sitting like with her legs open like this, and he gives her a spoon and says, "You need to hit my hand before I wipe the water off." And he's got a towel, so he's pretending like he's gonna wipe it with his hands, and she just needs to hit him. So he's like, "Okay, we're gonna do this in 3," and he grabs a towel, and he's holding it, and I don't know what he's gonna do, and he says 1, 2, and he throws the towel in her face, and he pulls her legs, so he wipes the water clean with her butt, and she doesn't hit him. And I thought it was the funniest thing in the world, and I'm like, I'm doing it.
Right.
I can't do it to those little ones yet because they're a little too little. I could totally do it to my brother's little boy. Right. He's old enough. It would be the greatest prank in the world. Right. He might get a little razzled. Right. But my mother and father-in-law, they saw that. And that was just like, that is horrible. You're just teaching the kids not to trust adults, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, maybe they shouldn't trust adults. Yeah. Maybe there's some bad adults out there.
Or maybe
it's just a joke.
I do think there's a lot to be said for stretching the rubber band of getting used to. And that's kind of man shit. I think that's kind of our job.
It was his dad doing it to a 6-year-old girl that was laughing when it was done.
That's dude shit. You know what I mean?
You could do it in a mean manner. Or you could do it in... I'm not going to do it to a kid I don't know. Right. And I'm also not going to do it to all my nieces or nephews or what have you, because some of them are not going to react to it. I'm a smart enough adult to know that. Right. You know? But the one that I know is going to, you know, feed off of it, it's going to be hilarious. Like, that same guy, he got my brother going for a couple of days about how far you can hit the golf ball. Because, like, our first house, my dad would mow this section across the street into, like, a putting green. And this huge open field, and then there was like an overpass in the distance. And this guy would just egg my brother on about how far he could hit a golf ball. And my brother would win longest drives and whatever when he was a teenager. And he got an exploding golf ball. And my brother had no idea. And he's just
See,
like,
this is so far from me. I don't even know what the fuck that is. I've never even heard of one of those.
it's a golf ball filled with powder.
Okay.
So when you hit it, it just goes.
Okay.
So he is egging my brother on, who's got an ego out of this world, and he was a big kid, big sports guy. He's like, I bet you whatever, you can't hit it over the overpass. And he egging my brother on for like 3 days. And my brother's like, I totally can do it. Finally, we get to the house. He tees the ball up. And it was the funniest joke in the world at that moment. Because my brother's licking his lips, and he knows he's going to hit it over the freeway, and it explodes, and he is white with powder.
Right.
And
It's such... Yeah.
you know,
It's so... I didn't... How could... New Orleans doesn't seem like the type of place that golf would be all that shit. Like, it seems like it's more of like a football town, if anything.
It's definitely a football town.
Okay.
Totally. Football and fishing.
Right.
Little bits of hunting, duck hunting, a little bits
Isn't
of
there-
deer, but
I wanna
lots
ta-
and lots and lots and lots of fishing.
Something is weird about New Orleans. Let's get into this a little bit. There's a couple of things weird about New Orleans.
Greatest city. There's New Orleans,
But there's some...
New York, and San Francisco. Everything else is Cleveland. Look it up,
Including Los Angeles.
baby. Fuck Los Angeles.
Thank you. But not just because of the Dodgers, man. I'm saying Los Angeles as a town is dog shit as well. But yes.
Orange
go ahead.
County's great.
Yeah. Orange County. I haven't spent any time. San Diego's the shit.
Ooh,
but-
San Diego's
but,
my fave.
LA is, just dog shit. But anyway. I was looking at the stats. I have a bunch of listeners in Ohio for some reason and in LA. I'm like, who the fuck do I know? I mean, I know there's Peter from
Gross.
Carlsbad, but like, oh, okay, I know. In Ohio, no, who's
Ohio.
Alex B? He's in Boston, isn't he?
No, he's in Louisville.
Okay, so it's not him. Who the fuck is in Ohio, dude? If you're listening to this in Ohio, fucking write me.
It might be.
Don't say the actual name, but like
AG's friend that moved. I think he lives out there. Steve something.
I don't know. Shit.
We'll have to call AG.
Yeah, maybe. I keep pestering him to come on the show. We're gonna have a showdown about the East Bay. AG's all about the fucking East Bay. Fuck
Dude,
the East Bay.
if those bridges would collapse,
Yay!
it would not bother me.
I decided
if I couldn't go
the East
north
Bay
of
is Food
San
Max.
Francisco,
The East
and
Bay
I couldn't go
is a giant
east.
food max.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love my brother, and my niece,
it's like
and their
you're- so-
family,
so
and
you
I bring
talk-
them all over.
You talk
but
about
like,
New Orleans, right? It's like
well,
going
all
to
my
the,
brothers, actually.
It's like going to the West Bank in New Orleans. You just don't go. Like, there's nothing there. Like,
Right.
there's no reason for a bridge.
Anyway, so New Orleans. Why is it so passive aggressive? Or maybe it's aggressive. Or maybe it's aggressive.
I would
but there's a
never
weird...
have described it as passive aggressive.
Okay,
I've
here's
found passive
not
aggressive
like
out
San
here.
Francisco. Not San Francisco
Oh.
passive aggressive. What I mean is like the motto is be nice or what is it? Be nice or get out. What is it?
I don't know that motto.
Yeah, there's a fucking... I gotta Google
Be
it
nice
now.
or shut your fucking mouth?
Yeah, there's like a... New Orleans is... Hang on, I gotta look it up. Hang on. Be nice or get out New Orleans?
Check out these pictures.
No, that's things to not do. I keep hearing...
Well, you should be nice. It's Southern hospitality.
Of course! Hang on. Be...
How wonderful was it when you went to New Orleans? when
be
I was
nice or leave.
there? Yeah, totally. That's 100% true. I'd rather say shut the fuck up, but
Okay,
whatever.
but be nice or leave. Like that. Why are you putting leave as part of your shit? Like as part of your fucking marching song? That's a little goddamn aggressive. There's something weird about your
okay
fucking
with
town,
it.
man. I'm not
It's
saying
okay
I
with
didn't
being
like
aggressive.
it. I've only been there maybe. I spent time obviously.
Be nice and respect others, or get the fuck out.
Okay.
It's a nice little ecosystem. It works really well down there.
Okay,
You know,
maybe.
New Orleans is not necessary. I would not describe it as the South. I went to school in Mobile, Alabama for college.
Okay.
That is the
Yeah,
South.
it's the South.
That's
what
way different.
What differentiates?
It's a melting pot. You know, you have so
New
much
Orleans is.
diversity in New Orleans.
Okay.
A lot more diversity. And you have all these different cultures.
So was
And-
there
and-
more racism in Mobile? Okay.
Dude, yes.
You have some stories?
Yes. It's just, you know, it could be a normal thing to have the rebel flag all over.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, it was somewhat normal in New Orleans. I mean...
What do you feel about the rebel flag?
Ooh.
What do you personally? Obviously, I don't think you don't have
I
stakes
think we
in
should be-
it, probably, right?
I think we should be strong enough as humans and as people to deal with anything.
Okay.
I don't think a flag should hurt or change your view or anything like that. I used to be way different. So let's just be honest.
Sure.
In my home, when I was a high school kid, I had a rebel flag the size of that
Right.
hanging on my wall
Okay.
with the Grim Reaper coming out of it that said the South will rise again.
Okay.
And then I had... So for the kids listening, there was no such thing as posting pictures. So you take photographs
Right.
with
And
your
then
disposable camera.
Tape it up on your wall.
And then I'd pin it. And
Right.
at the end of my time there, it almost all the pictures engulfed the flag. So the flag, the flag kind of disappeared.
Okay.
You know, it was something ingrained, something cool, something edgy.
Something ingrained, something cool, something edgy. Okay.
But-
now, was it also partially? Was it just being a shitty little teenager?
Totally.
Okay.
And the thing that being proud from being from the South,
Okay.
I would say was a big thing.
What did the South will rise again mean to you back then, though? Did it mean literally the South
It
will
meant
fucking
teams.
Ah.
It meant an ideology,
Pride.
pride for being part of where you're from.
Okay.
In my opinion,
But it wasn't necessarily even you as a
it
teenager.
wasn't hate, but it was at the same time. You'd
Meaning
hear
what?
stories. I remember hanging out with a good friend through high school, and his uncle we'd go fishing with was an anesthesiologist. We're
Okay.
talking big timer. Making late '90s, early 2000s, $800 to $1 million. We're on a
Right.
62-foot sports fishing yacht, a Viking that was you don't know anything about boats.
Nope.
Anybody listen out there, you know how expensive and how nice a 62-foot Viking, with the enclosed fly bridge is. I mean,
Okay.
you're talking millions of dollars for this boat.
Sure.
So, granted, this is the guy. This isn't some white trash piece of shit on the side of the road.
Right.
But
This
this
isn't
guy,
some guy in Jerry Springer.
right? But he totally was.
Okay.
He drives a Viper, and he's got a pretty much get out of jail free card because he was the only anesthesiologist at this certain hospital in Alabama.
I love
So,
the
like, he could
90s-ness,
speed-
the 90s-ness of a Viper. It's the cheapness, the tackiness. I love
it.
it.
He could make a phone call and speed back to the hospital. It was crazy.
Right.
And like he was down. I remember this. This was so edgy at the time. He could smoke weed, and he did, and he was open about it. And you did not talk about that in front of my father.
Right.
Like, drugs were completely horrid and bad, and all that stuff. But he was different folk. He wasn't friends with my dad. He didn't grow up where my dad grew up. He wasn't involved in the church with us. Blah blah blah. So my dad was definitely one of high moral fiber and teaching us right from wrong and how to be nice to people. This guy maybe not so much. And he would tell stories of living in New Orleans and growing up, and they would literally go into the projects and beat up the black kids, and that was normal. Go into the projects with a rebel flag flying, and that's what they did. And you're like, you're a teenager and you're looking at this guy, and he's a bad guy,
Right.
Good guy,
Right.
but he's bad. He's got that,
It's dangerous. Yeah.
he's different. He's not like that. I want to be like Dad now. Maybe I didn't want to be like Dad when I was
Sure.
a teenager. He was too.
Yeah. That's
too
that's
right,
nature. That's
you know?
nature. Right.
So it's like you kind of want to be like him a little bit,
Right.
And that was a symbol that he had,
So that's part of the reason.
You totally.
Now, did he say beat up, or was it let's go fight them?
Practically kill him.
Okay.
The way they would describe it. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, no, it was not. It was brutal.
It wasn't a fair fight.
Fuck
Let's
no.
set this up, gang versus gang. Okay.
No, they were beneath them, and they
Right.
went and did that shit for fun.
Right.
And it's horrible.
Right.
But that's what they grew up with.
Right.
That was normal.
Right.
Bert Crusher talks about it, when he was growing up in Florida, white, and a nigger in a fight, he
Fight.
sings out,
Fight, nigger and a white. Right.
yeah, and he talks about it in his podcast, like he grew up with that. A friend of his dad, sees a little black boy, a little white boy fighting, and that's what they would do. That was not the reaction we ever got with my dad.
Even though he was a cop. Strange. I
if
thought
my dad heard
all
us
cops
talking
are
like,
bad.
if my dad heard us talking like that or being, we were
right.
getting the wrath of God. Like,
Right.
you respected people.
Right.
You know, it didn't matter who they were and where they came from.
Right.
You know, when his friend was murdered, you know, it was, we were at the scene. It was the craziest day in the world, dude. I remember, I know what I was wearing. I know what happened. And, you know, I got the funnest cop car ride I ever got in my life. We went to the scene of the crime, and we got in a cop car to go to the hospital. And it was me and my dad, another good friend of his, and the cop. And we went the wrong way on the Interstate I-10.
Jesus.
And it was crazy, dude. Crazy. And I remember all that. And we got home, and my dad was like, we can't be hateful. We can't, you know, the whole, you don't want revenge. We need forgiveness. You know, thank God my dad was like that, because it's so much easier for me.
Right.
Going through everything that I've gone through and getting sober and now in the prisons helping these murderers. I never thought that would happen.
Right.
You know, so conservative and so iron-fisted that, you know, they need to be killed. Period. That's it.
Right.
You're a murderer.
Right.
You don't deserve to live. Now I'm embracing you.
Right.
I'm doing these things with you, and I genuinely love you.
Right.
And I want the best for you.
Right.
Wow. I say the program we do has a lot of these things, but a lot of that was instilled from my dad. Like, he's a good dude. You know, he's got his things, but he's a righteous dude.
And part of the fear and the anger that I have personally, and I feel like a lot of the left does and the right and everybody, sure, but like part of that is I'm ignorant about what's over there, and ignorance also breeds a little bit of insecurity, or a lot of it, because I'm insecure that I might have to fight something. So like, even, I don't think I had this experience, but I know a lot of people when they first volunteer at a prison, they're like, or maybe not, that might not be a good example, but sometimes when you're insecure, you get like, oh, I have to like make sure I'm super fucking tough, or I'm like I'm gonna put them on a like I'm like they're beneath me because I am insecure that I'm beneath them, right? Totally. So that ignorance is part of, which is, as far as the rebel flag thing, I feel like it does,
it's
weave
I'm better
into
than you.
that. Well, but the left, or at least people not from the South, they don't even want to enter into the conversation that there are people who have grown up with something that it doesn't necessarily mean what it means to them, right? Nobody in their right mind, in public, unless they're fucking an absolute racist piece of dog shit, would fly the Nazi flag. No one in their right mind. Now, does that mean I want them to be shot or imprisoned for it? No, I don't. But let the racist asshole not have any friends and nobody fuck him. You know, it's not gonna be worse, but it's not gonna get worse by like, or it's only gonna get worse by like trying to stamp it down and hide it like it doesn't exist. But the rebel flag is not necessarily as tied into what leftists think it is tied into. Right. You know what I mean? I do believe there are some people who use the Southern rebel flag as a means of, I hate blacks, and I hate Jews, and I hate Mexicans, and they intersperse it, they conflate it with the Nazi, or they conflate it with the South will rise again, and they're serious about it. But there are also people who believe that the rebel flag is just a Southern pride thing. There are also people who believe that that the rebel flag is just like a, I love my family.
And then it's the thing of, you're not taking it away from me. I don't give a fuck what you think about it.
Right.
I don't give a fuck why I'm attached to it.
Right.
But guess what? You ain't fucking telling me what to do. And then that ego gets in there, and that's the real battle we're having right now.
Sure.
You're taking away something from me that I don't want you to take away from me.
Right.
It doesn't matter what it stands for, at all. Absolutely at all. It ends up coming down to team versus team, and you're not taking this away from me. I'm free to do whatever I want. And then that just marks an explosion, of personalities, and we never get into a case of tolerance of being able to talk about it.
Right.
It's ingrained on both sides. Different things.
Right.
And like people aren't open to it, and then that ego comes in, and then you can't deal with it.
I just want to be able to talk about it, which is part of the love of this podcast. You know what I mean? We can talk about, embracing prisoners, and we can talk about race jokes. Like, we can talk about fucking everything, because part of my goal is, let's humanize everybody, because everybody is one.
guess
That
what?
includes people who you think are going to vote for someone you disagree with. That includes people who already did vote for other people.
And you can look at it in the extremities. The leader of the Black Panthers, and you look at the leader of the white supremacist that's in jail. They are so alike. It is unbelievable. Right. I mean, they are so much closer to being
like
the
Crips or the Bloods? You mean
yeah. Whatever gang, whatever. But the black side and the leader, and then the white side and the leader, and the Mexican and the leader, and if you don't know, it's all about race inside the prison, which really is weird.
Except for in our spiritual group, sometimes it bleeds in, but like these guys, like they can hug inside our spiritual group, but they leave.
Because no one else is seeing that.
Right. But they leave and they're like, you can't be like interloping. You can't be fucking,
You can't be talking to them.
Right.
Like you could get killed.
Right.
Like that's crazy. But like they're so similar. And like you brought up like something that brought something to mind. I remember when David Duke was running for office in Louisiana. And the only thing, so like we would have these conversations.
What year was it?
90s probably.
And David Duke was an actual. He's not like a shitty, pathetic little Richard Spencer guy.
People laugh at me and they say the white hoods. I'm like, you don't know anything about the KKK. It's the purple hood you're worried about, buddy.
Oh, is that
That's
right?
the Grand Wizard.
Oh.
So it's funny when I
Which
make a
is so
joke.
funny, by the way. A grand wizard.
I'm
a little fag, dude. I'm a grand wizard of the KKK.
I have a buddy. I have a buddy of a buddy who's
wizard, loser.
Big time military boy, and he loves pushing people's buttons and shit like that. He lives in San Mateo. He's the type of dude. He got called because somebody was impersonating a military soldier at O'Neill's bar. And he got up out of bed in his pajamas, showed up, and made the dude strip.
Nice.
Because he was impersonating.
I would like him to come on the podcast.
I could maybe arrange that.
I've been wanting to get somebody from the service, especially,
maybe.
or a cop on this.
Oh, that would be
Tell him if he wants to stay anonymous. That's absolutely fine.
Oh no, he. I'll talk to him.
Okay.
Anyway, so he was running, and we went to the Strawberry Festival in Ponchatoula. And he was campaigning.
Which is a weird sentence. Continue. What does that even mean?
And he was campaigning, and I just always remember my dad telling
David
me,
Duke was campaigning. Okay.
And we knew I knew what the KK was, but my dad always told me that they didn't like Catholics. So since we were Catholic, he didn't like us. So that was the way of my dad letting us know that it's not okay to be one.
Right.
Without having to really go down, roads with
so
children.
So the KKK doesn't like Catholics
I don't know
either?
if they do or don't.
Huh.
I don't think they do. But that's what my dad always told me. And I remember he was shaking hands, and I came up to him and I spit on him and I ran away.
Good for you, man. That's great.
Oh yeah, the strawberry
awesome.
Funny thing with that, talking about alcoholism, I never tell this story. But my dad bought me an alcoholic daiquiri at that Ponchatoula Fest. I was a little kid. So like it was okay. And I was walking around with my sister with it. And I got caught by an undercover cop, and he put the little litmus strip in it. This is when beepers were around, guys. Okay, so you had to beep your dad with the number and 911, so he knew to call.
Right.
And they took me to the little station or whatever, and my dad. Ooh, you gotta love my dad. He'd come up with a good story, So he bought us non-alcoholic, and I must have grabbed it from the alcoholic.
Right, of course. Right.
And
well, because your dad's a cop, so he's able to
that he used to be,
Right.
And they let me off, but I was scared shitless because it was a random dude. We're in the crowd. Dude, I don't know, 10, 12, 14, somewhere in there. I don't know. And a guy in plain clothes comes up and asks me, what's in the cup. I don't know shit from Shinola. So I tell him, and then he pulls out the badge.
Right.
And I'm like, what's that mean? And he's like, is there alcohol in it? And they took me in, and then of course my dad just came over, schmooged him for a second.
I was thinking about that experience with me when the line gets crossed. When you're like, I'm a kid. So my parents or my mom took me to a movie. I think it was American Beauty once. I think it was 2000. So I must have been like 13.
Who's the naked girl in that one?
Mina Suvari, I think. Mina something? Yeah, Mina Suvari.
Beautiful tatas.
Jesus. Anyway, so we go there, and it was the first time, like, we're in a movie theater, and all of a sudden titties are there, and my mom's not like, turn your head. I must have been like 11 or 12 or something, because I think it was 99. Anyway, and I'm like, I'm watching titties. It's like I'm so adult. You know, I remember that.
I remember one of my favorite movies growing up was Toy Soldiers, and there's the part where they go into the basement. I never knew what this part was because my dad.
Toy Soldiers. Oh, the animated movie?
No. Come on, dude.
What are you talking about, Toy Soldiers?
You're too young for me, homeboy.
I'm sorry.
They're in a military boarding school.
Okay. And
one of the kids' dads is a federal judge, and they know that the federal judge's son's there. So the big, mafia dude from Mexico comes up, and they take over the school, and they hold the son ransom from the judge.
Okay.
Trying to get somebody out of jail. And we'll look it up and show you.
Okay.
Anyway, they have one of those phones from the AT&T service guys where you can tap into a phone and use it. So they'd always go into the basement of the cafeteria and they'd call the 1-800 numbers with the sexy girls on it.
Yeah.
And they would infuse Scope bottles with vodka. So they'd go down there as high schoolers and they'd drink the Scope and listen to all that crap. And they get caught. But during that scene of the movie, my dad would always stop it because it was a great action movie. Love it. Mm-hmm. And he'd either fast forward or we'd have to leave the room. So my dad just didn't want to teach us that, and tried not to curse in front of us or anything. Mm-hmm. But his business partner, Mr. George, my dad went into partnership with him, and he didn't give a shit about any of that. His kids went to Catholic school, but he didn't follow any of that. Moral fiber stuff. Right. So that's when Striptease came out, when Jesse Spano.
Okay. You're not talking about Demi Moore, right?
No, that Striptease. What's the one that Jesse Spano from Saved by the Bell strips?
I don't know, but I want to look
Stripper?
it up now, dude.
Oh,
dude, one of my favorite
buddy.
websites, Celeb Jihad. Do you ever go to Celeb Jihad?
No, I haven't.
Dude, all of the, there's always somebody with a leaked nude or a fucking, I know.
Don't you love seeing it?
Oh my God, it's great.
Just a little bit. I'm not looking for too dirty. I just want to see, the picture where it's the chick,
she's
with
clothed?
all of her clothes, and then the naked, and you're like, just a little bit. I'm not talking about anything raunchy or making him seem horrible. I'm just talking about a still photo. So anyway, we'd go to Mr. George's house. Dude,
all I can say is, by the way,
this dude probably could get in trouble for this shit now. Oh my God, I was sexually harassed because he let me, fuck all that shit. And he'd turn it on, and I'd get to watch. And you see Jesse. This is the childhood idol. I love Saved by the Bell. And then you see Jesse all hot and fine and naked. And you're like, ooh, wait.
Yeah. But no, so as far as Celeb Jihad, I just have to say, just to put a button on that, God bless Jennifer Lawrence. I don't like her politics. I think she needs a fucking man to tell her shut the fuck up. But God
don't
bless.
Know enough about
She's
her.
Such a good girl, dude. She's such a. If you look at all the all the leaked nudes of Jennifer Lawrence, she is taking selfies for a man. She's a good girl. God bless Jennifer Lawrence. She's a dirtbag, and I love her. She's spread eagle for a bunch of.
Why is it morally wrong for some
girl.
nude photos? Why?
Well,
I understand if
the leaked ones. I understand it's wrong. The leaked ones don't go into somebody's fucking iCloud. But if it's already out there...
This is my stance. So I have a telephone. Right. There's information inside this telephone.
Sure.
A wise man once told me, about that thing that we have, that notebook. You got to guard it with your life. And I take a different stance. I say, fuck that.
Yeah.
If it's in my home, just know this. Whatever you read or whatever you see,
it's on you.
You cannot unsee and you cannot unread.
Right.
If you want to play on my phone and you want to look through stuff, you can't unsee it.
Right.
So you shouldn't be looking through somebody else's phone.
Right.
Meanwhile, why is it wrong?
Right. So do you eat ass? I love eating ass. I gotta tell you,
buddy. I wasn't
comes
sure
up
if this was
every
gonna come
episode.
Up. I've heard a few episodes. I love your brother.
Yeah, wasn't that a good one?
So I would love to do it. I have done it.
Okay.
I told my wife I wouldn't go down this road, but wifey, I love you. We'll talk prior to my marriage.
Okay, we'll talk prior.
I've been together with my lovely wife for 12 years.
She's a fucking saint.
She is, dude.
And you're not. I know you're
aside,
not just saying that because it's like the
she's a badass.
Ray Romano thing to say.
She's tolerant. She's patient with me.
Right.
She's with me. We're a
Right.
team.
Right.
It's fantastic.
And she seems to
She
be
lives-
like
she
loving
lives-
being a wife. Like she
Yeah,
like seems
man.
to like be down with the fucking.
And we don't have the traditional roles. You know, she's the moneymaker now.
Right.
But she's in it for me, and I'm in it for her,
Mm-hmm.
and we get to grow together, and she's awesome.
Awesome.
So that to the side.
Okay.
The first time it ever happened to me.
Okay. Wait. Happened to you. You didn't eat ass.
I didn't know it existed, bro.
You mean you were receiving?
I was receiving.
Okay. For the love of God, this
I
is
did
a
not
problem.
know.
Not a problem for me, but this is a
didn't-
bone of contention. Pardon the pun.
I had no idea it ever existed. I'm a naive guy.
Sure.
Anyone that knows me understands that I'm pretty damn naive.
Anyone listening to this understands.
I'm very naive. Like, gaydar, don't have it.
Really?
You gotta have, dude. You gotta be so fucking gay for me to know. Like, I'm that guy that I used to be so outlandish. Like, I dropped the faggot word. I did
Right.
it one night at a bar with a buddy of mine,
Right.
and I'm talking about gays.
Right.
He's as gay as a $3 bill, but he's a manly man, and I never knew that. And I'm
Ah.
like, oh shit, you know, stumbling on my words. Like,
Right.
you know, I mean, it's not like I didn't mean what I said, but I didn't mean to offend you.
Right.
Very naive. So, I am in a situation. I used to look good. You know,
Okay.
I did those PEDs back in the day. And,
Okay. What
you
in the
know,
hell is that?
Performance enhancing drugs. you know?
I see.
And, you know, I got all involved in the gym, and girls liked the way I looked. And
Mm-hmm.
there was this... I met this girl. I was like 20, 22.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think I was 21 yet, actually. And I met this princess. Ooh-wee. She was like 32. And I thought I was
girl.
the shit.
Right.
You know?
Older females, I'm telling you. Dude.
Man, and I
You
was
gotta smell
still
my
in my
finger
phase.
a little
I was
later.
still in my phase that drugs were bad. You know, we'd go out to the clubs, but if you did drugs, you were morally bad. I was still at that level.
Fucking such a southerner.
Oh God, dude, I was. And
You fucking were you driving drunk at that point?
no. See, that's the thing. Everyone
All
thinks that
right,
like I was
all
this
right.
raging crazy alcoholic from like early on, but like I had this good streak, you know, and like I knew what to do, what not to do. I wouldn't drive drunk back then, just because I was so fearful and I didn't know what I could get away with yet. You know, is really what it was.
Right.
So we go to this club and this chick's just staring at me, and I'm staring at her, and I thought she left, and like I turn around and she's like in my face. And I'm like, oh. Anyway, so now I got to have this narrative that like she has no idea that I'm not 21, and you know I can't live with my parents. Right?
Sure.
That's
So
not
we're going to her
acceptable.
place. That's,
but she's got a child.
or you got to fuck her in the car. That's what it. Yeah.
She's got a child, and you know, whatever. Anyway,
Whatever.
my best friend at the time, his parents were out of town, so like I would hop. And I'm in college at the time, living in Mobile. Anyway, long story short, we go to the friend's house where the parents are out of town, and one thing leads to another, and she's.
So you go to your friend's house?
Oh yeah.
What a dirtbag! I like that.
dirtbag,
I like
dude.
that.
Like so like I didn't know how to explain it to her, but we were always.
Did you have a key at least?
Oh, I'm with the friend.
Oh, okay. All
He
right,
knew.
right.
He knew. He knew. If he's listening, it's gonna be funny. He remembers. If his parents are listening, sorry.
I had one time where
that
a friend.
was such a dirtbag. We didn't even change the sheets, but whatever.
I had one time I had a friend let me use his room because I couldn't bring a girl over my own place.
Cars and friends' houses, they never were brought to my house, you know?
Right.
Because if dad... Oh, no.
Right.
Dad... My dad's good, man.
Right.
But anyway, she goes downtown, and I got my eyes closed, and I have no idea what's going on. Next thing you know, a little tongue in the hiney, and I'm like, woo! What was
Right.
that? And I looked down, and forever was just changed, you know? It was just like the world
Interesting.
changed in a second, and...
That was not my experience with
my
it.
God.
Okay, so what about
Like, I had no idea.
what
you
about
know? She
anything
was
past the Sarlacc pit? What about anything? What about anything past? Do you like a little? You know,
Nah.
No?
Just a little tickle.
just a little tickle.
Just a little
okay.
tickle.
See,
And man,
for me,
those
it was
girls
not
that were-
eye opening. It
the
was
guys
like,
that-
oh, this is nice. Okay,
The
whatever.
girls that liked it were just ooh, they were special. But
It takes a. That's
You
a
know,
good
it's-
goddamn girl. That's a good goddamn girl. A down ass bitch.
I disagree because she's.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Tut tut.
I think she's an insecure girl who's trying to do anything to get to the guy.
No. Well, yes,
it's
okay,
just-
but okay,
It's
you're
a
right.
difference.
You're right.
It's a difference. You're an
Good
animal.
things
I love
can
an animal.
be used.
I love an animal.
Good things can be used just like the rebel flag. Rebel flag can represent lots of different things, right? So, ass eating can be used in insecure ways. But a good girl wants to please the man. A good girl wants a happy man, man. A good girl is a down ass bitch. She got stripes. She got fucking. On her. You look on her arm. She's got fucking white stripes going all the way down to her elbow. She's a good goddamn girl.
It's like Tom Segura and Christina Prudenski. You know, they had this. You know, if he killed somebody, would you cover up? And they had this thing, and she said no in certain circumstances, and said she's not a down ass bitch.
No, well, they got a kid now. That's a difference.
That
is not as
my wife. I'm going out on a strong limb here. She'd cover up for me.
I think she would probably.
Totally.
But unless you had a kid, because then
she's protecting the kid.
Right.
Fuck those little kids, you know?
Right. But I'm saying, like, a down-ass chick is, like, not necessarily, like, a down-ass for, like, I mean, that's a totally thing. But, like, even being a dude, like, when I'm in the zone and I'm not anywhere else, and I've got her fucking mind, and I am fucking the shit out of her. See, that's a good girl. A good girl is, like, looking at me like fucking feeling me. She's feeling me.
Sex was bad, man. Sex was bad.
Right.
You know, you grow up going to these Catholic schools that indoctrinate you and shit.
Right.
You know, it's okay for a priest to touch the little boys and let's hide him for fucking 50 or 70 years.
Did you know any things that happened?
See, that's the crazy thing. So, like, one of my best friends is a priest, and I fucking adore him. And I would go places with him.
Sure.
And, you know, in school, I'd always get out of class.
And you don't think he's a diddler
I didn't go to a therapist. I just went to Padre for confession during school.
Okay.
And it would last for an hour. And it was really a therapy session.
Sure.
But never, ever. And if you ever accused him of that in front of me at that time, I would have been you know, my staff's in the ground, and I'll fucking kill you. Right. He's a good man, because he was a great man. I mean, he still is a great man. We still banter about the Dodgers. You know, I call him up like, "What up, ho?" Who else calls a priest a ho? Right. You know, and we're great friends, and he's a lovely man. And we get to have conversations now that I disagree with stuff about Catholicism.
Mm-hmm.
I've grown, I've changed. I love lots of it.
Oh, yeah.
And I hate lots of it.
Sure.
And, but it was one of these things where sex was bad, man.
Right.
It was morally bad.
Right.
You know, I was made
Which I'm sure added to the fun, right? Didn't it?
No, I'm a guilty motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like, I felt bad after. I felt shamed after. I was the type of fucking dude that, now granted, I'm so self-centered and I'm an alcoholic, all that stuff.
Blah, blah, blah.
But, like, I thought masturbation was so bad that I had to go to confession the next day. So I had to run.
I thought that too, and I wasn't even a Catholic.
I had to run. I'd go to mass in the morning at school, you know, and I'd go to confession after because I thought I was going to hell. And I tried not to do it. I tried my best, and I could not do it.
Right.
So I just went to confession all the time.
Everyone masturbates, man. We got to talk about
But I didn't know
that
that.
more.
I had no idea.
Right.
You know how I started masturbating? God love him. One of the greatest men to ever walk the earth. Andrew motherfucking Dice Clay.
Dude, he's one of the best.
That's my love for comedians.
He's one of the best Instagram follows in the fucking world. I learned how
to jerk off because I listened to a couple of his comedy specials, and I didn't think it was a thing, but I thought it was a thing, and then I started doing it.
Who let a Catholic boy have a Dice record?
I didn't. I had to hide that shit, man.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And then, dude, my sister's the devil.
Mm-hmm.
My sister is one of those. God love her. She's one of my best friends. I adore her. I'll fucking kill for her.
Sure.
And we're very close now. But she was that nitpicking little bitch when we were little kids that if we didn't do something she liked, she'd get us back. And she knew where our porno mags were.
No, dude.
Yeah, how fucked up was that shit, bro?
Rat on the porno, man.
We would hide it. To all you youngsters out there that get your telephone now and you get to see anything you want.
Anything.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
Seriously.
Dude, luckily, I had an older brother. Shout out, Bubba.
Were you around?
He brought that shit in.
Were you around? God bless him. Were you around the time when?
Because
at least I got the squiggly line because there were some channels.
Totally, we had that
squiggly line. Okay. Yeah.
We had squiggly line.
Right.
And if you had they call it jailbreak back then. I don't know, a chip. If your cable box had a chip, you had a code.
Oh, I didn't.
I don't know how my brother knew that code, but he fucking knew that code, bro.
That's dude
He
shit
knew the
too.
code.
God
But,
bless
we
your
wouldn't
brother.
God bless him.
Right.
God bless him. He brought the porno in the house, bro.
Do you ever watch Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee?
Yes, a few
One of my
them,
favorite
not
shows.
many of them.
So Chris Rock was talking about, he told this great story where he was visiting, when you're famous, there are dying kids who want you to come and say hi, you know what I mean? And so one time he goes and visits this dying 15-year-old kid. He sneaks him a porno, man.
Dude, God love him.
God bless
Like,
you.
Come on,
That's
dude.
dude shit, man.
Exactly.
Let that kid jerk it, man. God bless him.
We would hide it in the box spring of the bed.
Right.
So we'd cut the felt and we'd hide
See,
it
that's
in there,
smart
dude.
as fuck.
Yeah. Shout out, Bubba.
Right.
But that little bitch of a sister, she must have started going on her period, and she was PMSing, and we did something wrong to her, and she's like, I'm bigger than you. I'm getting you. That's how she always did it. She always won. She still wins. She still wins everything. She won that battle.
Right.
And she told mom and dad. Mom and dad would have never known. And you know what? God loved Bubba. He took the brunt of it.
Yeah.
It was Bubba's fault,
Right.
And oh, God love him. But yeah, we had those things. Andrew Dice Clay. God love that man. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's a good man.
Oh, we used to torture my brother too, man. We had a fun childhood.
Right.
Like my best friend, his nickname, it fits him applicably because later in life it changed meanings, but my dad coined him the nickname Powder Puff.
Okay.
Because when he used to sleep over, we used to love pranking my brother.
Right.
And my brother was way bigger than me. And we'd prank him, and he wouldn't fight me back. Because, like, there's the bro rule. You know, there's no punching to the face. But, like, there's some choking. No punching to the face. Absolutely no
okay,
punching
I can
to the
get
face.
that. I don't think we
You
ever
don't
did it
fight.
intentionally. No, me and my brother, we were just
If
wimps.
my
I think we
brother
just
would have
rolled around and, like,
Ever
hit
hit me
each
in the
other.
face, he would have broke my jaw.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
He's a big boy.
Right.
Like, and not fat. We're talking Southern strong. Like, he's still big. But so Sissy would always win. So now she has friends sleeping over. I have friends sleeping over. We're trying to get her back. So me and Powder Puff go and put toilet paste all over the toilet seat.
Oh, my God.
Because girls have to squat to pee.
Right.
Never once in her mind.
Would say that he had to take a shit.
Would never think that older Bubba is going to go pop a squat in the middle of the night. Like, who does that, you know?
Right.
And he does. And, dude, toothpaste burns sensitive areas. You know?
Interesting.
So he
You know
said
what
in
I've
it.
noticed recently, by the way? Some toilets, the water comes way too high up and my balls dangle in the water. I think it's because I think my dick and my balls are getting bigger, which is hard to do. But I think I'm losing weight.
I'm so
It's
sophisticated.
just like dipping in the fucking water. I don't want. I mean, these poor females.
Let's
who
shout
are
out.
sucking my dick through the toilet water.
You need some ads on this, and we're gonna get you an ad.
Yay!
We're gonna do Tushy.com.
What's that?
Tushy.com is the portable bidet.
Are you kidding? There's a portable bidet?
That's how great my wife is.
Oh, God
she
bless her
listens
heart.
to me.
That's
She
wonderful.
feels my heart. She knows my podcast, and she knows what I talk about. And you know what she got me last Christmas? She got me the Tushy bidet. Greatest thing ever. You are a heathen. You're nasty, and you're just unhygienic.
Right.
If you're smearing your own, that's great. If you put shit in your hair, do you just take a dry piece of cloth and just smear it out of your hair? Hell no.
Right.
You use a faucet. You get in the shower.
But there's
you
no
hose
soap
that.
in a bidet. I know it helps.
You don't need soap.
Okay.
You just need a little rinse and a
Would
little
you-
pat.
Going
and
back
then-
to the
and
ass
then-
eating, though.
and
Going back
then-
to the ass eating.
And then you take the shower to clean it off.
All right. Because you got to, that's the thing, is I was only willing to let a girl eat my ass after I was like, okay, I'm
You gotta be
showering
clean,
right now.
But sometimes you're funky. Sometimes you're just a dirty fuck.
I don't mind
I
a
was
little, on a girl anyway, I don't mind a little dirt.
If I
don't
could get
not
mine-
not poop.
When
I'm
I
saying
was in
like
college, if I could
eating her
get mine,
pussy, you know.
hygiene was not on. I feel sorry. Girls in college, I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't care.
Yeah, you fucking dudes are gross.
Dude, how horrible is it for girls in college and high school? You know, like a young boy trying to finger bang a girl.
Right.
Poor souls. Guys, there's podcasts out there. My little teenage homies trying
So
to do
much-
it for the first time. You know, there's a little podcast out of Santa Cruz. What's it called? Oh, shit. I forgot it. It's a sex podcast. They teach you how to do them things. Be nice
Just
to the
watch
ladies.
a lot of
Take
porn.
Care. No.
Yes,
Absolutely
no,
not.
No. Porn
'Cause you
helped
don't-
me
no.
eat pussy better. Absolutely.
No, it does
Yes,
not.
it does.
No.
Yes, it does.
If you go down
I can't
the road,
watch it now because it's
instructional
boring to me.
instructional porn, but no. Porn is no. I try to bring that stuff in the bedroom. It doesn't work. The positions and everything, and you get uncomfortable.
No,
you gotta
just-
do what's comfortable.
You got to get right in there, and you got to stay there. Don't fucking move from it. Just try whatever thing you're doing. You get in there, and you
Gentle,
do it.
slow, and soft. Don't traumatize these girls.
Sure, right,
It's horrible. No wonder they fucking hate us, man. We're horrible
You can
to them at
traumatize her
first.
after a little bit of gentle,
Totally.
for sure.
But like, dude, come on. I'm thinking about some of my first experiences. Horrible.
Right.
I mean, they were fantastic.
Right,
But like looking back on it, like, ugh, no.
right.
You know, blood. There's not supposed to be blood. You know, fingernails. I didn't trim my fingernails or give a shit about you, and you were too embarrassed.
Wait.
You didn't tell me anything
Okay,
about
hang
that.
on. Are you sure there was blood from you, or was it like she was on her period?
Most like, jeez, I'm bringing back memories. One was
I
a
fuck
period.
on period, dude. I fuck on period.
Oh.
I don't give a fuck. I don't eat pussy. If the girl's hot enough, I'll lick her clit for sure. But like, she can't be on like a heavy day. You know what I mean?
Really
Like,
going down a road that I don't want to go on, bro.
you want a truth podcast, bitches?
Mom.
Patreon.com/conservatives.
Mom,
Give
if
me
you
your
listen,
goddamn
to
money.
this, I'm human.
Right.
I'm sorry. I love you. Please don't judge me.
But
and if
yeah,
you
no,
do,
I
I'm still
fuck
the
on-
same person.
I fuck on
anyway,
Rick.
yeah, dude. One time it was totally.
It was you?
It was the period, and then
Oh, okay.
one time it was me for sure.
Right.
But I remember, dude, the first time when it was the period,
Right.
I came back in,
Right.
and it was during the winter.
Right.
It was on the side of my buddy's house.
Right.
It was crazy. got interrupted by this one that became the interrupter over the years, and almost lost my virginity on the side of the house, but it didn't. And I came back inside and I took the glove off because it was cold outside.
You fingered her with a glove?
No.
Oh, no. You took
Dude,
a hand
I didn't
out.
want my
Okay.
fingers chilly.
All right.
So,
See, this is
and then
gloves,
I come inside.
the glove
and
experience is not something the Bay Area kids have. We don't wear gloves here.
Well,
We don't.
it was,
it never
it was
gets
New
cold.
Year's. It was cold. It was
I don't
probably in
know.
the 30s. You gotta wear, you gotta wear the right clothes. You're
Right.
outside. So I come inside and I take my glove off and I'm like, what is this? And I'm so young, I have no idea, but there's lots of dark chocolate matter. Like if you know real blood, like I've torn my esophagus and I've vomited real blood. It
Right.
does not look like blood.
No.
It is thick chocolate. Okay? And like I have a nephew that's coming like it's hard to be a father. How do you have that conversation? I remember my dad trying to have a sex conversation with me. It was keep your peck in your pants, boy. We don't want to have a kid, and that was about it. In a sauna, he told me, make
sauna?
sure you keep your peck in your pants, son.
It's weird.
But like I have a nephew, and I want him to be, I want
Right.
him to be Casanova. I want all the ladies to love him. I want him to be the man.
Right.
But it's like, where you step over,
Well,
he's
that's the
talking to
thing
little
that I feel like,
girlies
and then
everything.
I think we gotta. It's been
Yeah, it's-
2 hours and 51 minutes.
Oh, wow.
But
Man,
I think part of the thing that I wish the Bay Area people and maybe leftists in general, but mostly it's the Bay Area. I wish there was more representation of what men do and men teaching boys, and like dudes being dudes to each other. You know what I mean? Like, not necessarily that there has to be a fucking bar mitzvah for everybody to like, okay, now you're a man, but like there is some of that that's missing. There is some of that like dudeness that's missing.
Can we get to the point of realizing there's a difference between legitimately being offended by something that anyone or anybody should be offended by, and something that maybe it's you. Maybe you're not a strong enough moral character to see through it, and you need to work on yourself.
Like a joke or a right.
Exactly. Like, you're insecure. You have some skeletons in the closet. You haven't dealt with it. That's why you're having the experience that you're having.
Right.
What they did was not actually something that you should be offended by. But
I even believe that
there are things that it does not matter where you come from or who you are or skeletons in the closet or anything that are absolutely objectionable and are offensive and should not be allowed.
Well, what do you mean should not be allowed?
They should be allowed. I'm all about freedom.
Okay.
Do whatever the hell you want to do.
Right. Because I'm even saying...
But there's consequences, and there's some very, very severe consequences for certain things.
Right.
Very severe. We need to be able to understand that people are mentally ill.
Right.
And, dude, when you fight with somebody that has belief, you're fighting with a monster.
Right, because they actually believe the things that they're saying.
And that's on both sides, and we need to understand that so that we can surpass those things and unify people.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I never believed anyone had, if you didn't believe like me, fuck you.
Right.
But now, like,
right.
you gotta, like,
right.
There's reasons.
Right. Because ultimately, I don't think, because someone was
And there's bad people out there, and there's...
Someone posted something that said, like, well, if we disagree on politics, it's not the same as, someone posted a picture of them, one person wearing a Red Sox, jersey, and the other person wearing a Dodgers jersey.
Fuck the Dodgers.
There you go. And they said, see, if we can agree on this, you can agree, to even though you disagree on politics, it's okay. And someone retweeted it or reposted it saying it's not the same. This is our lives. And I'm thinking, like, no, not really. It's how both camps just disagree on how to deal with what specific issue it is. Obviously, the left and the right, let me rephrase that. The agreeing, the sensible, even the sensible left agrees that illegal immigration shouldn't be happening, right? The sensible left normally does anyway. I mean, Obama, up until a few months ago, was, you can hate him or love him, but he was against illegal immigration.
Everyone was.
Right. But they just have different ideas on how to deal with them. Both of them abhor gun violence, but they have different ideas on how to deal with them.
You have one side that we can find ways to save money and we don't need more revenue. Mm-hmm. And then we need more revenue because it's okay how we're spending it.
Right.
That's two humongously different views.
Right.
And you can see it very rampant here.
But neither one is like evil. Neither one is not just malicious, but neither one is evil. One is, in my opinion, shitty, but that's the same way on the other side. The other side is like, don't let...
Look at all the props that are going on right now. Every single one of them's a tax increase. Right. Not every single one of them, but majority of them.
Right. Anyway, let's fucking start wrapping up. Thank you very much, Michael, for coming on.
I highly enjoyed this.
Yeah, this was fun.
Maybe again at another time.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to... I definitely know Sheldon's coming back on soon. I know I keep fucking saying that, but I'm bugging him to come back on. And then I want Will to come on again.
I love Will. And I'm going to work on getting my my military friend.
Yes, please.
He will be fantastic.
I really...
on here.
Any cops, if you're listening, if you're a cop or a veteran of the service of any kind, write me at conservatishpodcast@gmail.com. Coming up next week, next week or the week after, I've got one of the people from Walk Away. You ever heard of the Walk Away camp or the movement?
I've heard of it.
It's hashtag Walk Away. A lot of people are walking away from the Democratic
Party. We didn't even
Party.
get to talk about Proud Boys.
Yeah, I know, right? It was a good episode, wasn't it?
I liked it. I don't think I listened to the entire thing, but majority of it.
Yeah.
I think they're getting a bad rap.
Oh, surprise, surprise. Well, I think we're going to probably have Jerry back on. I'm going to bother him a little bit. But anyway, we should get a
round table with some...
A Russian gal coming in who's walked away from the Democrat Party.
I love Croatians and Ukrainian strippers.
She has not come on the show yet. Don't fucking ruin it. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Go to conservatishpodcast@gmail.com. Feel free to write me all kinds of hate. Also, find me on Instagram, Peter_Feliciano. Facebook. Find me on YouTube, SoundCloud, Bob, Twitter. And also go to patreon.com/conservatish and contribute to what we've got going. Also, every month you'll get special gifts, including access to a acoustic cover song that only you get.
Any Heine play?
Huh?
Any Heine play?
No ass play, unfortunately. Unless you contribute more. If you contribute more than 50 cents a month, I will play with your asshole. That's a promise.
I pledge.
Right. It's 51 cents. Thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy. Oh, and leave me a reviews on iTunes and all that bullshit. Thank you.